ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. Ross 8 Stadium in West Lafayette, Indiana. Undefeated Purdue welcoming a team still in search of its first win. That would be Notre Dame. We're about 30 seconds away from kickoff. And Charlie Weis in unfamiliar territory. 6 losses in his first 2 years as the head coach at Notre Dame. 0-4 this year, first time ever in school history. With Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews, I'm Dave Pash, and Dre, it may not get any easier today for Notre Dame. Purdue, led by Curtis Painter and Dorian Bryant, averaging 49 points per game.
Yeah, it's an explosive combination. Curtis Painter, 16 touchdown passes, only 1 interception this season, has really tightened up that touchdown to interception ratio. Spent the entire offseason getting himself better. He's got a lot of weapons to throw to. Dorian Bryant being one. They like to get him the ball in the open field on reverses, things of that sort, and he happens to be a pretty good return man as well, averaging over 35 yards a kick return. He's got one he's taken to the house already this year for 91 yards.
And he might get a chance here as Purdue will receive the football. Packed house here at Ross 8 Stadium. This is a rivalry more for Purdue because Notre Dame has a lot of national rivalries. This is a matchup of 2 teams within 2 hours of each other. As Andre mentioned, Bryant with a kick return for a touchdown. Desmond Tardy also has a kick return for a touchdown this year, and both are back to receive the opening kick.
Yeah, it won't take long to get a glimpse at Dorian Bryant. He is a special talent. A lot of people compare him to Steve Smith, the Carolina Panthers. He's an explosive guy. You get him, give him some space, and he can really make you pay for it.
Well, the first game of the year, Toledo kicked to Bryant, and he returned it for a touchdown. And Joe Tiller a little surprised the teams are still kicking to him. Let's see what Notre Dame does here to start the game. And they kick it away to the near side, but it'll be Bryant anyway at the 25. And good starting field position for Purdue as Bryant takes it to the 35-yard line as we check in with the third member of our crew down on the field, Aaron Andrews, EA.
Hey, Dave. Well, many people wonder just what is the mindset of this 0-4 Notre Dame team. And, you know, following their loss to Michigan State last week, head coach Charlie Weis said he was very moved by the passion his team showed in the locker room. Now, that carried over this week in practice. Leaders like John Sullivan and Tom Zbikowski really got on the younger players in a positive way, saying, look, we can't be making these mistakes in Week 5. Dave, these leaders know they also have to step it up to lead and help out such a young team.
And Notre Dame did show signs last week against Michigan State as Sheets takes the first down carry out to the 41 for about 5 yards, but there's no question, Andre, Notre Dame has to play better this week. Signs last week, but got to be much better to win on the road today.
And they're going to have to tackle well in space, Dave. They're going to have Dorian Bryant as well as Selwyn Lyman on the outside, guys that can make plays out in space. You'll be one-on-one in a lot of situations, and you got to bring those guys down.
Charlie Weis said they wanted to get back to basis, focus on running the football. Did that against Michigan State. Got to shore things up defensively, though, near the bottom in most categories, as that pass is caught by Bryant at the 45-yard line, about a yard shy of the first down. It'll bring up third down and short. Now for Purdue's offensive starters, here's quarterback Curtis Painter.
We'll start in the backfield with Corey Sheets. He's the guy making all the plays on the ground. Going out to our wide receiver spot, Dorian Bryant and Dustin Keller. They're the guys leading one of the top receiving corps in the nation. On our offensive line, we got center Robbie Powell, right guard Jordan Grimes, left tackle Sean Sester. They're the guys doing the dirty work behind the scenes.
And the offensive line probably needs to give Painter some time here on third down. Instead, it's going to be Painter keeping. There's a flag down. Painter did not get the first down, but it appeared that Notre Dame was offside. Brockington the first to hit Painter in the backfield.
Yeah, it's going to be on that right side of the defensive line and offsides.
56 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Result of the penalty will be a first down.
And Kerry Neal, the outside linebacker, the freshman out of Bunn, North Carolina. You'll see him just kind of jump on the right side of the defensive line here. Curtis Painter, an experienced quarterback, does a good job with a hard count. You use it to your advantage. If you're an experienced guy, that's what happens. That's the difference, one of the differences between a guy like Curtis Painter and a guy like Jimmy Clausen.
And an opportunity there for Notre Dame to get a little bit of confidence to start the game, but a penalty gives Purdue a first down, and then Sheets with a huge run on 1st and 10. And he picks up 11 to the 40-yard line. Now for Notre Dame's defensive starters, here's Matt Phipps, also known as the Notre Dame Leprechaun.
All right, let's hear it for that Notre Dame defense led by Coach Brown. We got my big man Trevor Laws holding it down up front. And watch out for Maurice Crum in the middle, stopping those runs. And if you're not careful, you'll get knocked out by Tom Zibikowski at strong safety.
You ain't kidding. Zibikowski, an amateur boxer as well as the biggest hitters, one of the biggest hitters in college football.
You're telling me he's got a right-hand cross?
Yep. On first down at the 40, Painter with a ton of time. Bryant is there. And down to the 22-yard line before Zibikowski makes the tackle. It's a gain of 18 and a Purdue first down.
Boy, nice throw, patient throw, waiting his receiver out. You're going to see Dorian Bryant come right into your screen over the middle, and he gets the matchup that they want with Maurice Crum, the linebacker. Painter with the eyes. You've got to use your eyes as a quarterback. See him, nice move, getting behind the linebacker in the middle of the field. Perfect timing on the play by Curtis Painter.
You talked about cutting down on interceptions. Only one thrown this year after 19 last year. Painter hands it off to Sheets here on first down. Down to the 16. Tackled by cornerback Darren Walls.
Where they run the old counter where they bring the left tackle Sean Seaster down. He kicks out and allows for Corey Sheets to get his shoulder pads turned north and south. And Purdue kind of surprising me. They've hit a couple of passes early in this drive, but it's been Corey Sheets who's been the guy that's led this drive on the ground with his legs.
Purdue terrific in the red zone so far, in the top 10 in the country in total offense and scoring. 2nd and 6. It'll be Sheets again. Big hole inside the 10 and down to the 7-yard line. Zibikowski with the stop. It'll be 1st and goal for Purdue.
Boy, they do an excellent job of spreading Notre Dame out, getting a body on a body, and then it's all Corey Sheets has got to do, read the blocks of the offensive linemen up front, and you're going to see it here. Nice, all these bodies right here. Actually, the Purdue offensive linemen outnumber the guys in the box for Notre Dame. Now it's just pick a soft spot, get yourself turned up the field. Purdue doing it on the ground.
That's the 4th first down. One of those on a penalty by Notre Dame. But no running room for Sheets this time. Loses 3 yards as Dwight Stevenson, son of NFL Hall of Famer Dwight Stevenson Sr., makes the play on Sheets.
Well, you'll often hear me say small wins in a football game, and certainly for Notre Dame, working here, they've been Purdue has gone down the field on them. They can kind of get one of those soft wins if they're able to stop them and hold them to a field goal attempt here. That's basically what you're hanging your hat on. You can't allow Purdue into the end zone on their first possession.
Painter again with time. And a wide open man in the end zone. Touchdown, Dustin Keller. There is a penalty marker down, however, back at the 11-yard line.
Boy, he had all day to throw the football. You're going to live in zone against an experienced quarterback.
The illegal shift on the offense. 2 players moving and not set before the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Yeah, when you shift 2 players, you got to get set for about a 1-second count, and then you can move and go ahead and snap the football. They're a little early, a little edgy. Purdue going to back them up, and they're going to have a chance to do this again. Boy, what a big break for Notre Dame.
There's Joe Tiller in his 11th year as the head coach at Purdue. They've gone to 9 bowl games during his tenure and won the Big Ten championship in 2000, led by quarterback Drew Brees, who's in attendance today as the Saints have their bye week.
Boy, he just makes you feel at home. Sitting in a meeting with him yesterday and talking to him, he is a good football coach.
And a great job here with the Boilermakers after success at Wyoming. On 2nd down, it's caught at the 10-yard line by Desmond Tardy as they get back to their last point of a scrimmage at the 10-yard line, but 3rd down and goal coming up.
Well, that's the old coverage where you give the cover 2 look, and it's actually a 3 deep look to the wide side of the field. A lot of defensive coordinators around college football don't believe a quarterback can make that throw, but Curtis Painter, he can throw it from one side of the field to the other and still have a lot of steam left on it.
Wearing the same number that Bob Greasy wore at Purdue back in the 60s when the Boilermakers went to the Rose Bowl.
There's some impressive numbers early in the season for the Purdue quarterback.
2nd in the country in touchdowns. Looking for number 17 here as the ball's batted into the air and incomplete. It was intended for Dustin Keller, and knocked away by Maurice Crum Jr.
And Joe Tiller, the head coach for Purdue, going to have to settle for a field goal attempt. And Charlie Weiss, the small win we talked about, just holding them to a field goal attempt here. He came back from a touchdown pass to Dustin Keller. They get a big break on an illegal shift, and then the defense responds to hold them to this field goal attempt.
Corwin Brown in his first season played at Michigan, 8 years in the NFL, was with the Jets last year as a defensive backs coach, as the 27-yard field goal try by Chris Summers is good. So Purdue gets points, but as you say, Andre, perhaps a confidence builder for Charlie Weiss and the Irish. This telecast is available on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. With Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews, Dave Pasch back at Purdue, where the Boilermakers come up with 3 points on their opening drive. And Andre, time for hardware, software. You've got a team, as we saw, wants to be finesse on offense against a team that wants to be physical on defense.
Well, the software part of this is Curtis Painter. He's the guy that's going to pull the trigger for Purdue. And with that, he'll find the soft spots in this Purdue defense. On the hardware side of it, Tom Zibikowski, Maurice Crum, they'll have to play some zone, some soft zone, but they'll have to bring the wood and the hardware in this football game once those receivers cross the middle of the field.
Notre Dame is ranked 4th in passing yards allowed, but that's a little bit skewed. No one's had to throw the ball against them this year, but they did come up big on defense on that last series after Purdue got inside the 10-yard line and held the Boilermakers to a field goal. Armando Allen is deep, a pooch kick, and Robert Hughes going to take it at the 31-yard line. And that might work out pretty well for Notre Dame, as they'll get starting field position at the 36 for true freshman quarterback Jimmy Clausen. 42-0 as a starter in high school, 0-3 as a starter in college. His first start at Penn State. Tough place to begin your college career.
Yeah,
as a
really
QB.
is. He's a tough competitor, though. He'll stick his nose in there. He'll fight all afternoon long. The kid didn't win 42 games for no reason, so look out for him here this afternoon.
And he will throw on first down. And he's got a strike to midfield. That's a gain of about 15 yards and a first down to George West. Back to the studio now. Let's check in with Scott Van Pelt.
Dave, thanks very much. Taking a look at all the games on the family of networks, taking the pulse. Colt David just stoinked one off the upright for LSU. Maybe they should have flipped it to him and let him run it in for a touchdown. And the Black Knights of the Hudson return the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Army leads Temple 7-0. We'll be keeping an eye on all these games, and we'll get you right back to West Lafayette, Dave.
All right, Scott, appreciate that. Aldridge on the carry. Nothing there. Are you surprised, Andre? Notre Dame came out passing?
Well, you know, Aaron kind of broke the news for us. She was right on time, right on target with it, saying that Charlie Weiss would open this game up, passing the football a little bit more. It kind of surprises me a little bit, because where they had their success last week against Michigan State was running the football, and I think they can do that. They've got a big physical offensive line, some nice, strong running backs, and you'd expect them to come out doing that.
117 rushing yards last week. Here's a toss, and Aldridge gets to the 45-yard line, spun down by Alex McGee. That's a gain of 5, going to bring up third down.
Yeah, when you watch film on James Aldridge, he seems to be the better of the backs. He led the team last week with 104 yards on the ground. Just kind of a magical afternoon at home, and you see him here. He's got the capability to run tough between the tackles as well as take it the distance. You'll see here, nice ability to make guys miss, and tough runs, breaking arm tackles.
That was his first start last week of his career. Clausen, couple of pump fakes, then dumps it off out of the backfield to Jabby, and he's going to lose yardage. Justin Scott, the first to greet Jabby, and Notre Dame will have to punt.
Yeah, excellent job in the secondary. And talking to defensive coordinator Brock Speck, he said, I'm going to give Jimmy Clausen a lot of different looks. I'm going to bring pressure at times, but I'm just going to try throughout this ball game to keep him confused.
He said he wants to take the game out of Charlie Weiss's hands and put it in Jimmy Clausen's hands, and he did on that opening possession, forcing Clausen to make some decisions as Bryant is back to return the punt from Eric Most. And it hits off the leg of a Notre Dame player, and it will go into the end zone. Bruton unable to down it, And so Purdue will start at the 20, leading 3-0 in the first.
Join us for the MLB postseason party this October on NASN. We've got live coverage of the Divisional Series, the AL and NL Championship Series, and every game of the World Series live. Check NASN.com for scheduling and information.
The history of Notre Dame football mirrors that of college football itself. Legends, Heisman winners, champions. But the past is a ghost, and the present is what haunts Notre Dame after a horrifying start to the 2007 season. So wake up the echoes, please, say the Notre Dame faithful. The future is here, and the luck of the Irish had better change soon. Charlie Weis began his tenure at Notre Dame as head coach going 19-4, but they have lost their last 6 games. The school record for losing streak is 8 back in 1960.
That's been tough going for Charlie Weis and this young football team.
Play fake and Painter going deep. Lyman is open. He burned Notre Dame last year for 238 yards and a couple of touchdowns, and a big pickup there.
Well, what's happened is Purdue will jump you early in a football game and then coast through to the end. Selwyn Lyman goes on a nice corner route. You're going to see him read it out. Nice play fake, holding the linebackers, allowing Lyman to get behind the defense. And right there, nice thrown ball to the outside of the defense. You see it right here. Nice isolation, working him in a formation to get him lined up against a mismatch on the outside. 21-yard completion for Painter.
And to the ground, Sheets. Huge hole. Sheets inside the 40, all the way to the 37 as they gash the Irish on the ground.
Purdue came in. You talk about a high-powered offense and explosive plays. 23 plays of over 20 yards, and already in this one, 2. One of 21 and that one of 22 yards. Nice little hole. You see it right here. And now I'm in the second level, now to the third level, and David Bruton finally shows up to bring him down.
Sheets had over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown against Minnesota last week. Here he goes again. Very solid pickup on first down, getting a handful before Trevor Laws makes the stop downfield.
Well, what's happening right now is they've got Notre Dame spread so far out that they've just got nice creases for Corey Sheets to run through. You can get a body on a body, and if you got a pretty good running back who can, all you need is a little bit of daylight like Corey Sheets is having here. You get through the initial line of scrimmage, and then there's huge holes in the defense for him to run through.
Sheets, a senior out of Manchester, Connecticut. On second down, Painter buying time, and the pass way off the mark, intended for Greg Orton, who is covered downfield by Terrell Lambert.
Yeah, if you're going to play Notre Dame, the style of defense they're in right now, basically a 4-man front with one linebacker, that's going to allow the Purdue offensive line to just engage. And you keep hearing me say a body on a body. You don't really have to move anybody. You can just come out and occupy a guy and fight him to one side. And then once he goes that way, Corey Sheets going to have a nice little hole and a crease to kind of get himself through. And now all of a sudden he's one-on-one with either a linebacker or a safety deep down the field.
You wonder how much of Notre Dame's defensive struggles this year is because of a new defense. Corwin Brown replacing the fired Rick Minter. They go from a 4-3 to a 3-4 as Painter goes to Bryant for the first down to the 15-yard line. That's a pickup of 18. Zibikowski with a tackle downfield.
Boy, what a nice route by Dorian Bryant, and continuing to work. Watch the receiver here. He's not going to be open initially. Right there, good coverage, but he keeps working and finding a nice soft spot. You're going to line up and play a guy like Dorian Bryant, man to man. You better be able to run all afternoon long.
Bryant, a lot like Peter Warrick at 5'10 and about 180 pounds. Here's Sheets getting the call. Able to get away from Zibikowski. And then finally wrapped up at the 6-yard line by Lambert. That's a gain of 9.
Well, Dorian Bryant, was kind of fun to sit in the meeting with him yesterday and talk about how his favorite thing to do is sleep. And right now, this Notre Dame defense looks a little sleepy to me. Tom Zibikowski coming up in run support there and bringing out Corey Sheets. But I'll tell you what, they better wake themselves up in a hurry because they're playing a team that averages 48 points a game, and they're well on their way to hitting that average.
So good run by Sheets, puts the ball at the 6-yard line for second down. Sheets off the left side to the 1, and a first down and goal at the 1 coming up. Bruton saves the touchdown. Second time Purdue's had the ball. Second time they'll have a first down and goal inside the 10. Last time they were only able to get 3. Will Notre Dame be able to come up with a stop again?
Well, you're going to see right here. You see all the bodies in the box. They're able to just kind of occupy, and then there, nice little lead block, allowing Corey Sheets to kind of feel the soft spot in the defense, slide himself outside. Purdue, they can get physical when they need to. So many times you hear about a passing offense that can't get physical. They get down in the red zone, they'll stick their nose in there.
Sheets diving for the goal line. And he's in. Touchdown, Purdue. Fifth touchdown for Sheets. It's 9-0 Boilermakers.
Corey Sheets has tremendous athletic ability, and you see it there, the vertical jump going over the top. He's got some good genes, too. Mom ran track at Morgan State University, so he's got the speed to go along with it. She passed it down to him.
And Purdue making it look easy, marching down the field with big runs and a couple of long pass plays. Summers' extra point is good. 8-play, 80-yard drive took less than 3 minutes. And Notre Dame in trouble again. Back in West Lafayette, Purdue leading Notre Dame 10-0. Corey Sheets averaging close to 100 yards rushing per game. And on that drive alone, he had 41 yards, including his 5th rushing touchdown this season.
You talk about Purdue being a high-powered offense. They've run 17 plays. 7 of those have gained 9 yards or more, outscoring opponents in the first quarter 82-13.
Summers kicking it away from Armando Allen again. It'll be Hughes at the 30-yard line. And again, good starting field position for Notre Dame at its own 42.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com. Find the right car for you. Cars.com. And in part by ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider. And Pizza Hut. Tackle the Pizzone from America's favorite pizza, Pizza Hut.
And Notre Dame with good starting field position from the 42. And Clausen with a play fake on 1st and 10. And that pass knocked away beautifully by Terrell Vincent at the last second. It was intended for George West. Now back to the studio. Let's check in with Scott Van Pelt.
Dave, thanks. Taco Bell takes us to Champaign after Penn State got a field goal in its opening drive. The kickoff to the true freshman from Washington, D.C., Aurelius Ben. They call him Regis, and show him your taillight, son. Regis Ben takes it to the house. A 7-3 lead in Champaign for Illinois.
Regis Ben, big-time talent for Ron Zook in Champaign. We get a chance to see them next week.
Notre Dame wanted Ben, but he spurned them to play for Zook at Champaign as Armando Allen gets to the 45. Picked up 3 on that play. Now for Notre Dame's offensive starters, here's Matt Phipps, who's after me Lucky Charms.
Let's go, Irish fans. Get ready for a big day on offense today. We got Jimmy Clausen dropping back. He'll be hitting David Grimes, John Carlson, but it all starts up front with that big man eating all his Irish stew, John Sullivan. And bet you I'm ready to do push-ups today all day.
Now hopefully you can do more than Andre and I did during our production meeting last night. Never do push-ups next to a Heisman Trophy winner.
You were all right, though. You had a couple of diamond push-ups going.
Only a couple, huh? Here's a pass caught by West. Good move, and he gets the first down to the 43-yard line. Clausen sharp so far for Notre Dame. Here's Purdue's defensive starters and coordinator Brock Spack.
Welcome to the Purdue-Notre Dame game, one of the great rivals in college football. Starting up front from Green Cove Springs, Florida, is Cliff Averill. Making a transition from running back to linebacker from Chester, Pennsylvania, Anthony Haygood. And finally in our secondary, one of our biggest hitters from Sanford, Florida, Justin Scott. Enjoy the game.
All right, Coach, and Purdue has struggled in the second half of games, the last two, on defense as Clausen takes off. You know, already, Andre, just watching him here compared to the first 4 games, Clausen, as Charlie Weiss said, managing the offense better week to week.
Well, he really is. And I mean, he looks poised this afternoon. The thing that surprised me, Aaron talked about Charlie Weiss wanting to come out and throw the football in this game. When you watch film on Notre Dame, nice offensive line, big guys up front, and they're better at running the football and run blocking than they are pass blocking. If you're going to do that, give Clausen some easy throws, some nice hitch routes, some slants that he completes some passes early and get his confidence going.
He's been sacked 27 times this year. Hands off to Allen. No hold. Great open field tackle by Stanford Kegler at the 38-yard line. Loss of 1 on the play. Let's check in with Aaron down on the field.
Dave, just to add to your discussion about Jimmy Clausen, this week Notre Dame head coach Charlie Weiss took the wristbands off Jimmy Clausen. He wanted him to actually make the transition from calling the plays to running the offense. Charlie Weiss telling us this week it's really been center's John Sullivan's job, who's been the quarterback of the entire offense. But like you mentioned, Clausen looking very positive, looking very fresh, and good to start things off right here, Dave.
And he gets an opportunity often to talk with his brother Casey, who is currently the quarterback coach at Jimmy's former high school, Oaks Christian in Westlake Village, California. Clausen to the air on 3rd down. It's caught by the tight end Carlson, but going to be short of the first down. Dan Bick on the tackle at the 35.
And it's going to be decision time here for Charlie Weiss. But going back to make a point with Aaron, she talked about John Sullivan having the responsibilities of making the calls up front. Usually that's the quarterback's job in a Charlie Weiss type system. He'll redirect the protections, get himself protected up, and then run the plays. Now it's John Sullivan, the senior, the more experienced player up front on the offensive line, directing the traffic.
They'll need that offensive line to come up big here as Notre Dame's going for it on 4th down and 1. It'll be the true freshman Hughes who dives for the first down and does not have it. Keon Brown, the initial hit for Purdue.
Well, when it goes bad, it goes bad. Keon Brown gets through. He's got nice leverage. He's low to the ground. And then he's able to come up with a big tackle on Robert Hughes, who's more the physical type runner of this young running back core for Notre Dame. And you see the big fella there just kind of celebrating a little bit. Came in undersized with, has made great strides. He's been slowed by an ankle injury the last couple of weeks, but I'll tell you what, he didn't look like he looked like he was playing 100 miles an hour on that play.
Notre Dame has crossed midfield on both of its possessions so far, but no points. Conversely, Purdue with 10, and the Boilermakers had it again. First down from the 35. Here's Bryant, and reversing field, getting a block from his quarterback Painter, and finally Bryant down to the 28 by Trevor Laws for a big loss of about 8. Let's check in back at the studio with Scott.
Dave, thanks very much. After a 4th down play was stuffed, but a face mask gave Michigan new life. Chad Henne, Mario Manningham, 73rd career touchdown pass for Chad Henne, the all-time record holder at Michigan. They lead by 4 in Evanston.
That was the right decision, right? Starting Henne over Mallett?
Absolutely. Your guy's healthy. He's played some tremendous football for you. They've got a long way to go in the season. It is Chad Henne's job.
Painter on 2nd and 18. Pressure coming. Painter down. Trevor Laws with the sack back at the 15-yard line.
Well, he's the lone returning starter on that defensive line. He gets tremendous push up front for a big guy. You'll see him here come into the outside part of your screen right there. Nice little move to kind of keep nice bull rush and finds his way to the quarterback. Notre Dame, if you can't make something happen on the offensive side of the football, that old defense got to step up and start making some plays. Right here, they're responding.
And they need Trevor Laws. He is the bell cow on that defensive line. That's only the 3rd sack that Purdue has given up this year. And now faced with a 3rd down and 29. And Painter going deep. Orton's open, and it's a first down to midfield. Purdue converts a 3rd down and 29. Walls eventually made the tackle in Notre Dame territory.
Boy, they come up in press coverage, and he makes Darren Walls pay for it. You see it here. Nice. You got to get your hands on a big guy like Greg Orton. You cannot allow him a free release up the field. He's too big. He's too fast. He gets behind it. Painter does a good job with his eyes holding the safety inside so he can't help over the top. Boy, you give me Greg Orton one-on-one, I can go out there and complete that one.
40-yard play, and Durking, true freshman, gets the call here on first down to the 42-yard line. Well, for a look at a huge night of college football on the family of networks, here's Brent Musburger.
Any one of these teams in action makes for an exciting Saturday night. But a night with all three should not be missed. Top-ranked USC marches on Washington. Defending champ Florida looks to avenge its only loss of last year. 8th-ranked Ohio State wants to make its case for another crack at the title. Number 1, number 4, number 8, all in prime time.
Well, some good games coming up tonight.
Painter finds Orton again. And good open field tackle by who else but Tom Zibikowski. Already a handful of stops for him.
You know, last year the key was to stop Dorian Bryant. A lot of teams come in and they try to isolate him, try to double cover Dorian Bryant. And when you do that, you're going to leave these other big-time guys. It was Selwyn Lyman last year that went for 268 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. But now it seems to be Greg Orton, and you get these guys matched up one-on-one. It's kind of pick your poison. Which one of them do we want to hurt us? Right now, they're all contributing for Purdue.
Charlie Weiss told us earlier this week, we cannot give up the big play. They haven't done that very well as Zach Reckman, the left guard, came up out of his stance. Well, Purdue has lived on big plays this year and so far in this game.
Start.
Oh, yeah.
75 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
They came into this game, Dave, with 23 plays of over 20 yards. Today, they've already got 3 over 20 yards. So, they're capable of picking and pecking to get you up close to the line of scrimmage or closer to the receivers. Then you see the shots over the top to Greg Orton on the outside.
They've already run 15 plays in positive territory. That will be the final play of the opening quarter. And Purdue leads Notre Dame 10-0. The Boilermakers looking for just their second 5-0 start in 62 years. Notre Dame trying to avoid its first ever 0-5 start. Down 10 after 1. Some Purdue fans petitioning for game day to be here next week when the Boilermakers take on Ohio State. Right now they lead Notre Dame 10-0 as Painter fires incomplete on third down and 9, and the Boilermakers will have to punt.
Well, the Irish defensively, pretty good possession there on that side of the ball, forcing Purdue to punt it away. And you got to have something exciting happen. More senior leadership on that side, playing a lot of young players on the offensive side of the ball.
And Zibikowski is very dangerous as a return man. 3 career punt returns for touchdowns. That's tied for first all time at Notre Dame.
But you mentioned he was a professional boxer. Maybe he can throw a knockout punch right here. And he won't. Fair catch it.
And he lets it bounce inside the 10. A handful of Boilermakers down there, and the ball never crossed the goal line, so it'll be Notre Dame ball at the 1. Stanford Kegler, the first to hit the ball at the 1-yard line.
Well, when it rains, it pours. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you got a young quarterback right here. Tom Zibikowski makes a huge mistake. You got to fair catch this ball. He's thinking it's going to go ahead and go into the end zone. It checks up like a nice pitching wedge right there at about the 1-yard line, 2-yard line. The officials are gonna mark it, but you've got to fair catch that. He's a senior. He's returned a lot of punts, Dave. He knows he's got to feel that one at the 10-yard line.
And remember, too, in college football, it's not the feet, it's the position of the ball. And Kegler, even though his body was in the end zone while he was touching the ball never crossed.
A tough spot for a young quarterback to start this drive.
And Clausen will throw out of his end zone. Has a ton of time, and wide open is David Grimes to the 19-yard line. The coming of age, perhaps, of a true freshman quarterback as Clausen makes a big-time throw out of the back of his end zone there on first down. And Charlie Weiss, as you look at how Notre Dame has fared offensively coming into this game, letting his quarterback throw it.
Just awful. Those are awful numbers offensively.
But showing confidence in his true freshman QB. Back to the ground, and nothing there for Aldridge. Maybe a yard, tackled by Ferguson. Well, one of the moves that Charlie Weiss made in the offseason was allowing Ron Paulus, who had been working in an administrative role, to become the new quarterbacks coach. Kind of interesting, the parallels between Paulus and Clausen, all the hype in their freshman seasons at Notre Dame.
Yeah, he was a guy that was, according to Beano Cook, going to win 2 Heisman trophies before he left Notre Dame. And back now as their quarterback coach, he's got a lot that he could share with a youngster like Jimmy Clausen.
Aldridge, oh, nice play, and the ball's out at the 21-yard line.
Purdue saying they have it.
Josh Ferguson made the play, and then the ball came out. And it appears that Notre Dame has come up with a ball. Even though a Purdue player has it, Ryan Baker has it in his hand, but they're going to give it to the Irish.
I don't understand that one. Came out, and you see it here. Nice handoff to James Aldridge. Running, you get in a crowded area. Young running backs, that is a fumble. They're saying one of the Notre Dame players came up with it, but I'm not sure. That looks like Ryan Baker recovered that fumble. Notre Dame going to get a break again in this football game.
Clausen trying to snap it quickly, and Purdue got a timeout call in order to review it and challenge it. If you want to challenge it as a coach, you have to call timeout first.
Timeout, Purdue.
This will allow them to look further at it. And then either the replay will come from upstairs, or Joe Tiller, who gets 1 challenge per game, can throw the flag. The last fumble by James Aldridge will not be challenged by Purdue, and no replay coming from upstairs.
Well, you got a nice camera angle here. You see the foot of Josh Ferguson right there knocking the ball out. It's definitely a fumble. Now, the officials say Notre Dame came up with the football. All of a sudden, it was Ryan Baker coming out of there with the ball.
And now on 3rd down and 9, Clausen eludes pressure and throws an interception. Picked off by Vinson at the 30-yard line. And finally dropped at the 25 as Clausen makes a freshman error.
I'll say a freshman error. That is just a freshman huge mistake. You'll hear me often say don't go late over the middle, but guess what? If you're rolling left, you never ever try to throw across your body back to the middle of the field. And I really don't understand who he was trying to complete this pass to. It's tight end, I guess, John Carlson there, but still, you can't get enough on the football to complete that pass. Now Purdue set up with pretty much guaranteed points in this drive.
And you saw Cliff Averill go at the arm of Clausen. I bet a lot of guys didn't do that in high school. They're not strong enough or taught enough to go at the arm when you try to throw back across your body. And that took something off the pass. Now Painter going for 6-man down there, incomplete. It was intended for Byron Williams, who was uncovered. I'll make that Sheets out of the backfield. Excuse me, Sheets uncovered downfield out of the backfield. The interception by Vincent, who told us yesterday he wants to go to law school and be a sports agent. And open his own clothing line as well.
Yeah, he was a junior college teammate of the great Colt Brennan out at Hawaii. The gunslinger out in Hawaii. See those two matched up against one another in a one-on-one session. That'd be nice to watch.
And Brennan could be on Andre Ware's Heisman Trophy Battle Royal list. We'll tell you about that later. And Sheets with, again, a huge running lane. This time off the right side, down to the 11-yard line for about 14 yards before Brockington makes the stop.
Well, they run that counter play where they block down with the guard in the center. They pull Sean Seaster around the big left tackle, and he's clearing bodies for Corey Sheets, who just turns, take 2 steps left, and then starts downhill. And I'll tell you what, he had a caravan in front of him to run that route. Boy, look at that average per carry, 7.5 yards a carry against Notre Dame.
It was 6 yards a pop coming in. Here he is again, down to the 6-yard line for about 5. Another tackle made by Brockington.
You know, he's really developed patience as a runner. That was his problem last year. He's a fast running back, 6 foot, a little over 200 pounds, and he wanted to hit the hole a little bit too quick. worked on the patience, allowing those big offensive linemen to set up blocks in front of him. And now you see the benefits. You get those guys engaged. He can make a nice little cut. And I'll tell you what, he is running with a chip on his shoulder.
Purdue can still get a first down as Painter's pass hits the chest of Rayshawn McNeil, almost intercepted in the end zone.
Pretty good coverage there by Rayshawn McNeil, trying to get a nice slant route inside to Dorian Bryant. He's going to come here. You'll see him enter the screen, trying to stick one in there. Sometimes as a quarterback, you have to win with your arm in tight coverage. To go to his favorite target there, Dorian Bryant.
It's a big play for Notre Dame defensively. And remember, Purdue can still get a first down, does not have to get into the end zone.
Nice little bunch formation to the left. Right here, you see the bunch.
And Painter waiting. And Painter hit, and he throws it away. That should be grounding, and there's the flag. And that'll be a loss of down as well.
I just made it a longer field goal attempt.
John Ryan was all over Painter, and he was not outside the tackle box, and there was no player in the area of that pass wearing a black jersey.
You got grounding, 12 on the offense. Lost it down at the spot of the foul.
Made it a longer field goal attempt for Chris Summers, who's 4 of 6 this year. He's hit from 44 yards, but they had a field goal attempt blocked last week. So it not an easy chore. We've got some things to shore up in field goal protection.
Summers did make a 27-yarder earlier. That's the third time Purdue has gotten inside the 10-yard line. Only 10 points so far, looking for 3 more. And Summers is 2 for 2. 34-yarder after the interception by Clausen gives the Boilermakers 3 points. They lead it 13-0 over the Irish. Well, Notre Dame's defense holding here in West Lafayette. The Boilermakers leading 13-0. And Notre Dame just a couple hours away from West Lafayette. Really more of a rivalry game for Purdue, even though this is the 79th meeting, second all-time in terms of most appearances for a Notre Dame opponent, only to Navy. And they kick it deep this time. Armando Allen inside the 5. And good coverage by Purdue. Allen goes down at the 15-yard line. Tyler Haston with the special teams play. Back to the studio and Scott.
Dave, thanks. Back to Champaign we go, and back and forth the Nittany Lions and Illini go. After a Richard Mendenhall touchdown made it 14-3, it's Morelli to Williams. Touchdown Penn State, 14-10, but the juice got loose. Had Illinois back knocking on the door. Pass to the end zone is tipped. Justin King got the pick. Ill-advised to run it out, but Penn State's moved it out of the end zone from there. They trail by 4.
Penn State trying to bounce back after that loss to Michigan. Notre Dame trying to bounce back after an 0-4 start. And Clausen throws it away that time, something he didn't do on the last series. Down to the field we go, and Aaron.
Dave, I'm walking by Notre Dame's defense here sitting on the sidelines. A lot of instruction going on right now by the coaching staff. And, you know, there's been a lot of questions as to why this new 3-4 defensive scheme isn't working, not having much success. Charlie Weiss put it on his offense this week. He said, our offense isn't being consistent. That's forcing our defense to stay on the field much longer, and they're getting the brunt of all the blame and the criticism here. He said last year, offense was a lot more consistent. Defense looked to help us out.
That certainly helps EA when you have Brady Quinn, a veteran at quarterback, as opposed to a true freshman. And an excellent throw that time by Clausen, beautifully to David Grimes to the 28-yard line.
Well, he's got some talent now, and he can wing the ball around. Nice job of seeing it with his eyes, putting the ball on the outside where only David Grimes is going to catch it. You see a nice corner route by number 11, David Grimes, and waiting it out. Ball's in the air before Grimes comes out of his route, away from the defender. He's got some talent. He can make some throws. Give him a little time. He's just got to make smart decisions as a young quarterback.
Consensus #1 high school quarterback. Many say the #1 high school player overall last year. Running play, Allen, and coming down Haygood to make the tackle. He came flying around the corner. No gain on the play for Allen.
Haygood thought he was taking a handoff. You know, he's a former running back and moved a linebacker last season. Added about 10 pounds since the move, and I'll tell you what, he's been an active linebacker early in the season for Brock Spack, the defensive coordinator for Purdue.
We had a great time talking with the Purdue players.
They were great.
Such a reflection of their head coach, Joe Tiller. Very laid back off the field, very demanding, obviously, on the field. As Travis Thomas gets taken down in the backfield again by Anthony Haygood.
You know, Haygood said he didn't see a chance to get on the field as a fullback, so he made the move to outside linebacker. You see him right here. Nice job of getting up the field, and just as the running back's Travis Thomas is about to get himself started, Haygood comes out of nowhere and makes a nice tackle.
Brock Spack, the defensive coordinator, done a great job at Purdue.
Yeah.
And try to force Notre Dame into another punt. Irish have yet to convert a 3rd and 10 or more this season. Clausen on 3rd and 10. Has Grimes on a crossing route, but no way. Down at the 32. Got only 4. Justin Scott on the tackle. Irish punt again.
You can look at it a couple of different ways. He wanted to get the ball to David Grimes, see if he could run for the first down, but still, go ahead and look down the field. It looks like David Grimes coming up a little bit gimpy there. But you got to look down the field to throw a pass at least a first down marker to give the receiver a chance to come down with it and then fall for the first down. They're throwing underneath to Grimes. Purdue sitting in zone coverage. He's not going to outrun the zone.
Moss to boot it away. Almost got it blocked. And Bryant going to let it go. It takes a Notre Dame hop to the 19-yard line. Almost blocked by Frank Halliburton of Purdue. Boilermakers lead 13-0. They'll take over inside their 20. Mackey Arena, home of the Purdue men's and women's basketball teams. Literally a Andre Ware bomb away from the stadium, Ross-Ade Stadium in West Lafayette.
A young Andre Ware.
Dustin Keller on the catch, no gain though. And let's go back to the studio and check in with Scott.
How about Northwestern? They got absolutely ripped limb from limb last week. Ohio State had their number and then some, but Omar Conte here. And look at the Kitty Cats making some noise. Northwestern currently leads 13-7. Mallet quarterbacking for Michigan. Back to you in West Lafayette.
Well, Northwestern just got pounded by Ohio State last week.
Bouncing back.
Boilermakers play at Minnesota tonight. Sheets on the carry and gives Purdue a little more breathing room to the 22. We were talking earlier about Purdue's men's basketball team. Aaron Andrews standing by with a special guest.
Dave, thank you so much. Men's basketball head coach Matt Painter. A little bit of irony here. Matt Curtis Painter. And actually, he wore the same number as the quarterback Curtis Painter when he was in college as well. So how many times do you get the, hey, are you related?
We get it a lot, but it's great watching him play and watching his development and how much he's improved.
Absolutely, and I know your basketball team starts at practice in about 2 weeks. Top 10 recruiting class. What kind of buzz is going on around the program right now?
Well, I think the buzz started with last year getting in the NCAA tournament and beating Arizona, and we got a great recruiting class, and we got a lot of guys returning, so we're excited about it.
Dave will send it up for you for that play.
Yeah, big play there. Brandon Whittington on 3rd down with a catch out to the 47-yard line for a first down. Back down to you, Aaron.
Like we mentioned, the buzz around here, the buzz about the football team right now being in the top 25. How do you guys kind of partner, piggyback with each other right now?
Well, football is huge for us, just from a recruiting standpoint, bringing guys in and all the success they have. So we try to feed off that, and I know they use us also in the winter to come to games, especially those Tuesday and Wednesday night games on ESPN.
Well, Matt Curtis Painter, thank you so much. We'll see you during Big Ten.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back up to you.
Good stuff, Aaron. And he has done a great job.
He looks about 16 years old.
That's caught by Jake Standiford inside the 40. You know, it's funny, you've got Matt Painter, you got Curtis Painter, and Curtis Painter is actually a painter. We talked with him yesterday, or more of a sketch artist, he says. He likes to draw sports figures. And
you talk about a guy that takes the position seriously. He spent a lot of time this offseason watching a lot of film, and I'll tell you, it has really helped his game. He doesn't make the mistakes he made last year when he threw the 19 interceptions, only one this season to go along with 16 touchdown passes. He has really developed in this Purdue system.
He's a senior, but says he will be back for one more season next year as Sheets gets tangled up with Trevor Laws. No gain on the play.
You know, his grandfather, Curtis Painter's grandfather, played basketball at Purdue back in 1953, 53 through 55. So some good genes in the Painter family.
And Matt Painter, the men's basketball coach, has done a really good job getting the Boilermakers to the tournament. Lost to Florida, eventual national champion. And you heard Aaron talk about their recruiting class. I think Matt Painter is one of the bright young coaches in college basketball. You're going to see Purdue take another step this year forward. On second down, Curtis Painter out of the shotgun, tons of time, Standiford wide open, couldn't hang on. Incomplete at the 17-yard line.
Well, that's a pass that you kind of have to knife through there, and Standiford little bit high. He's trying to climb the ladder for him. His brother was a heck of a receiver here as well, but it's against cover 2. You're going to see him just kind of come into your screen. You see the safety over the top there, and nice between the safety and the corner on the outside. There's a big throwing window there for Curtis Painter. You knife it in there. Don't throw it too high. Just throw him a nice catchable ball. No rush, no pass rush on you. Sit in there and throw you a nice rock to your receiver.
Well, Standiford, unlike his brother, a guy who just got a scholarship going into this his senior year. John was the all-time leader in receiving at Purdue before Taylor Stubblefield. Painter getting out of trouble, and there's Dorian Bryant diving for the first down. They're going to say he was down at the 29-yard line. Another third down and long that Purdue's able to pick up.
Boy, what chemistry between quarterback and receiver, and not just Dorian Bryant, but the entire receiving core of Purdue. Watch him work. He'll get down inside. He gets cut off right there. Sees Curtis Painter in trouble and works away from the defender, catches the ball with his hands on the move so he can still get himself up the field. Nice job of working.
And Dorian Bryant told us yesterday that he really enjoys college, and that's why he came back for his senior year. Told us that everybody in the NFL told him he'd be a first-day pick, but he opted to return to school. Sheets lowers his shoulder and gets to the 25. Well, Dorian Bryant coming into this game, 32 catches after leading the Big Ten in that category each of the last 2 years.
Yeah, and said he chose Purdue because he felt comfortable with Joe Tiller. And there he is, says his favorite hobby, sleeping. Says there's nothing in life like it. Just to take a nice nap during the day. Loves it.
Started out at track as well as football here at Purdue, but said he stopped because he didn't like running in circles.
Didn't see the point.
Now he just runs by his defenders. Runs by defenders. Keller on the catch. Nice move by the tight end of the 15. Another first down for Purdue. John Ryan on the tackle. And we go back to the studio, and here's Scott.
Dave, early candidate for play of the day. Love to know how Andre would love a freshman to throw to like this. It's Regis Ben. True freshman, but he is a man. Penn State cannot tackle him. Ben for his second touchdown, but Penn State has just answered. Back and forth they continue to go in Champaign.
Scott, I got a year of eligibility. I might have to come out if you give me a couple of guys like Regis Ben. Go back and play.
And again, Notre Dame,
that's sweet,
wanted Ben badly, but did not want to play in South Bend. Instead, playing in Champaign as Sheets gets to the 11-yard line. Gain of about 3. Does Charlie Weiss have an answer on offense? No points, and got only 2 offensive touchdowns all season.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, and right now it's falling on the head of the head coach at Notre Dame because it's in the form of the Purdue offense who's threatening to score once again inside the red zone.
You talk about recruiting, they couldn't get Ben, but a lot of people think that they've got 2 excellent classes, the freshman class for next year and then currently the junior class, as Dorian Bryant makes an incredible adjustment in midair, and it's another Purdue touchdown.
That, my friend, is called winning with the throw. Curtis Painter put this football in a position for Dorian Bryant, and only Dorian Bryant was going to come up with this reception. Looked like a nice little fade stop where you turn the receiver away from the defender outside, throw it at the back of his helmet, and allow him to turn his body. If the defender comes through him, he's going to draw the flag of the official. Perfectly thrown football.
Summers' extra point is good. 4th touchdown catch for Dorian Bryant. 5th overall this year. And Purdue is rolling. check this out by Bryant. Big time catch by the wide receiver. Not a bad throw either by Curtis Painter. And Painter with that touchdown pass, now 17 on the year. Only one interception. They converted a 3rd and 7 and a 3rd and 9 on that drive. Eventually, the touchdown pass to Dorian Bryant. It's 20-0 Purdue. Summers kicking off, and Allen has to back up. And there's a huge hole, and Allen with a good return to the 32-yard line. Time now for our Dell playbook.
Well, you're going to look at Curtis Painter work on this play, the touchdown pass to Dorian Bryant. He's got Selwyn Lyman on the outside. There go man free, just going to come inside. That gives Bryant a one-on-one coverage, and the throw actually is what makes the play right here, away from the defender, turning his receiver's body away. Nice delivery of the football, right on time and into the end zone.
Can Notre Dame answer? First down from its 33-yard line. Allen on the sprint out. And a flag down, holding going to be called, thrown right at the left tackle, Sam Young, who was all over Josh Ferguson.
Yeah, the young tackle, Sam Young, who played on the right side of the offensive line last year.
74 on the offense. 10-yard penalty in the previous spot. Replay first down.
And let's get an injury update with Aaron.
Dave over here on Notre Dame's sideline. David Grimes, wide receiver for the Irish, doesn't even have his helmet in his hands right now. He's trying to put some weight on his right ankle, not having much success, walking around, shaking his head no to the trainer. Doesn't look like he'll be back in before the half is over with.
Well, and he's their leading receiver coming into this game with 12 catches. Grimes, their leading returning receiver from last year as well. Losing Samardzija, obviously, to the Chicago Cubs, not the NFL.
Made some nice athletic plays for the Irish last week against Michigan State.
How about the Cubs? Congratulations. They win the division. Here's Allen, and a great open field tackle, and the ball's fumbled and recovered at the 14-yard line by Purdue. Haygood popped it out.
Well, I tell you, that move has paid tremendous dividends for Joe Tiller, Brock Spack, the defensive coordinator of the Purdue Boilermakers. They moved Haygood from fullback to linebacker, and he is playing like a man possessed in this football game. They get the ball in the hands of Armando Allen. Just get it to him in space. Nice little screen pass, but somebody forgot to block Haygood. You know, you get those offensive linemen out there, they're creeping. You need to put that baby in about 2nd or 3rd gear. Get out there and get some shoulder pads on Haygood. He forces a fumble with a tackle, and Purdue once again setting up shop inside the red zone of Notre Dame.
Benjamin with the recovery from the Notre Dame 14-yard line. This will be the 29th play in the first half for Purdue in Notre Dame territory.
Yeah, they've run 40 plays in this ball game. Now 29 of them have been in plus territory.
Notre Dame has challenged the previous play.
On Notre Dame's side of the field.
And Charlie Weiss wants to challenge this to see if his running back's knee was down before the ball came out. And Grimes going to the locker room.
Take a look here at the play, the athletic play on the part of Anthony Haygood. Nice little screen pass, and you see the offensive lineman trying to get out here in front of Allen, but Haygood beats the lineman to it. Ball comes out.
That was really hard to tell from that angle.
I tell you what, the knee wasn't down and the ball was coming out. He goes kind of head first. The ball pops out. He's got one hand trying to hold himself up. It comes out. I think this is going to be Purdue's football.
It's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the ruling on the field, which is a fumble.
And we got a chance to visit with Anthony Haygood yesterday, and really impressed with him. Telling a story earlier about him going down the hall to Joe Tiller's office and saying, look, I'm not getting any playing time at fullback. I'd like to move to defense. He says, well, you know what? Linebackers are in a meeting right now. Why don't you shuffle on down there and go sit in on that meeting? He's been a linebacker ever since. I'll tell you what, it's been a nice move so far.
Right now it's 20-0. And if the play stands, this would put the ball inside the Notre Dame 15-yard line.
Well, this has got to be a nightmare for Charlie Weiss. You know, you talk about all that recruiting and who judges what class, and until they get in school and start to do it on the field, then that's when you judge whether a guy had the #1 recruiting class or not.
Well, here's a big question I have, Andre. And as we look at the replay booth where they're challenging, right now Notre Dame's an easy target. They're 0-4. They're down 20-0. But Charlie Weis, coming from the NFL last year, did not play a lot of backups. Not a lot of backups in practice. Starters playing a lot on special teams. Has that hurt him this year? Because they had a lot of guys graduate, and they got 6 new starters on defense.
I always think when there's opportunities, and certainly last year when they went 10-3.
After review, ruling on the field stands. Notre Dame is charged with a timeout. They have used their one challenge.
When you go 10-3, there's certainly some opportunities to get some youngsters some experience, and I really believe that you have to do that. Evan Sharpley played in a few games, a handful of games last year, but they should have been getting a lot of these guys ready, getting them some playing time, because you're graduating some seniors. You got to fill the void with a lot of younger players, and I think they're paying the price right now, sitting at 0-4 from not having developed those players in game-type situations last year.
And now you give Purdue another shot at 6. They've got all the momentum. Notre Dame has to be hurting from a confidence standpoint in defense. They did have a couple stops forcing field goals. Here's Sheets on the carry. Stood up at the 11-yard line. Got 3 on the play. Trevor Laws on the tackle for Notre Dame.
You wonder, when do you get out of zone? When do you try to bring some pressure? You have to try to create some type of turnovers in this ball game if you're Notre Dame, and you're going to sit back in zone and take just kind of take a hit. And Brandon Whittington, when they did blitz the one time, Curtis Painter was able to hit him for a big play. They've been playing zone coverage pretty much ever since. They went back to it one other time, and it resulted in a Dorian Bryant touchdown reception.
Painter's pass off the mark, intended for Orton. Darren Walls had coverage. And another opportunity for Notre Dame to stop Purdue and hold them to a field goal try.
And what coaches do, they try to figure out the tendencies. Right now, Notre Dame, you get them down inside the red zone. They've been going pretty much man-to-man. When they're away from it and they've got a good chunk of field, they'll play a lot of zone coverage. Get down here, they'll go man-to-man. I think Joe Tiller has figured that out, and now they're running a lot of man-under type routes and hitting receivers on the run.
Painter looking for his tight end Keller, and Notre Dame holds again. So good job by the Irish defense after the turnover deep in Notre Dame territory. Joe Brockington takes down Keller, and Corwin Brown's group holding Notre Dame to a field goal try, Purdue rather, to a field goal try.
Good job there by Corwin Brown and his defensive unit, kind of sniffing things out, forcing this field goal attempt. But I'll tell you what, that defense starting to get frustrated. They're playing a lot of plays in this football game, already up and over 40 plays in just the first half of this ball game.
Summers 2 for 2. This will be a 26-yard try and make it 3 for 3. He's hit from 34, from 27, and now from 26. It's 23-0. Purdue. Clausen back up next. Anytime Purdue beats Notre Dame, the fans go crazy here in West Lafayette. Long way to go as Purdue has struggled in the second half defensively in the last couple of games. But Notre Dame showing no signs of life offensively right now. Down 23-0.
Well, they've been lucky a couple of times, Dave, shooting themselves in the foot, turn the football over, and already in field goal range, but the defense able to kind of hold their own and force Purdue, holding them to just field goals.
And a short kick by Summers. On one hop, Allen takes it past the 30-yard line. And good second effort to get to the 35 before Tyler Haston makes the tackle. Back to the studio. Scott Van Pelt going to tell us what's coming up at the half. Scott?
Dave, thanks very much. Coming up on the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report, we will tell you about the Slugfest out in Champaign. Could be the coming out party for Regis Bend. We'll get a preview of the big monster game between Cal and Oregon out in Eugene and the implications of last night's South Florida win over West Virginia. Is it a good thing or maybe a bad thing for the Big East? Mark and Lou will join me. See you now. Back to West Lafayette.
All right, Scott, good to have you with us. Much better tie than Reese Davis usually has on Saturdays. Clausen trying to sense pressure, almost ran into an offensive lineman. And now taking off. Good pursuit by Cliff Averill. That's a defensive end running down the quarterback.
I don't know what his 40 time is, but once he gets started, he closed on Clausen as if he were being timed in the 40. Watch this. Watch him work from the backside right here and pursue Clausen. Now he's in pass coverage. Now he's kind of just sniffing him out. And now they're just closing on him, allowing just maybe a 1-yard gain.
They've had some great defensive ends here. Anthony Spencer, Roosevelt Colvin, Sean Phillips, Chike O'Keefer, Averill, who was a linebacker before this year, makes a nice play, and then Clausen makes a nice play, finding George West for the first down to the 48-yard line.
Boy, excellent job there, just kind of waiting things out and buying time down the field with your eyes. And that's a sign of a good young quarterback there, never taking his eyes from down the field, so that at a point in that play, you can go ahead and deliver the football. If you're down watching the offensive lineman, you never see that receiver come open.
Correction, Kamara on the catch, not West, and Clausen going to the sideline, and this time it's West, and he makes the catch in Purdue territory at the 48-yard line. Be interested to hear Lou Holtz's comments at halftime about the Irish. Obviously, Lou coached at Notre Dame, won a national championship back in 1988 against West Virginia with Tony Rice as the quarterback and Ricky Waters with the catch there.
My man, Tony Rice.
At 34-21 the final. 19 years ago. Clausen has trouble with the bad snap and has to dive on it back in Notre Dame territory.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're gonna struggle all day long if you play behind the down and distance marker. And right now, young quarterback in a 3rd down and long situation, bad snap just over the quarterback's head to the right of him. Does a pretty good job of just getting himself on the football.
3rd down and long when we come back for Notre Dame. Dave Pasch, Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews, and our crew back in West Lafayette. 23-0 Purdue, and 3rd down and 12 for Notre Dame. They have been miserable on 3rd down and 10+. I mean, that's unbelievable right there. You think you get lucky at some point and convert a 3rd down and 10 or longer.
You know, a lot of coaches feel like the best way to kind of slow down a high-powered offense like Purdue, run the football, run it successfully, and then keep them off the field. But Charlie Weiss coming into this game wanted to throw it, and he has done so.
Clausen going deep, and it is caught inside the 20-yard line by true freshman Golden Tate. Penalty flags down as true freshman Clausen finds true freshman Tate downfield.
Oh, he just put this one up for the big fella to just come down with it, go up, climb the ladder. See what the officials rule here.
Pass interference. Number 10 on the defense. The penalties declined. Result of the play is a 1st down.
And again, working against Royce Adams on the outside. This is just a nice go route. You see him get into it, shoulder pads down, and I'm not going to slow down. He locates the ball, makes a nice adjustment to go up and get the football. Nice play on the part of Royce Tate.
And we talked about great recruiting.
Golden Tate.
Tate 11th on ESPN's Top 150. Clausen back to the air on 1st down to the end zone. Almost intercepted again by Terrell Vinson. That pass was intended for true freshman Mike Ragone.
Well, and I'll tell you, he just stared it down, which allowed Terrell Vinson to even make a play. Took him right to him with his eyes. Look at it. He never took his eyes off the tight end. You got to look elsewhere if that's where you're going with the football. And you draw coverage. Terrell Vinson coming inside from the corner position to defend against John Carlson.
Clausen making his 4th start. Demetrius Jones started the opener, a loss to Georgia Tech. He has since transferred and announced this week he will go to Cincinnati.
Well, here comes the pressure on the outside.
Clausen on 2nd down, getting away from pressure. And that pass batted down, almost intercepted again. Josh Ferguson, the middle linebacker, knocked it down. And pressure by Brandon King for Purdue off the edge.
Well, he appeared in 7 games last year before suffering a hip fracture at Northwestern that ended his season. But I tell you, he's played some pretty good football. Josh Ferguson in the first half of this game for Purdue, and frustration mounting on the part of Charlie Weiss and the Irish.
Almost as many yards on this drive as their previous 5 combined. Only 2 offensive touchdowns all year for Notre Dame, and no passing touchdowns in 07. This is a 3rd down and 10.
Here comes the pressure.
Clausen again, running for his life and throwing it away. And there comes the penalty flag for grounding on Clausen. Mike McDonald had pressure on Clausen that time.
What he just did was took his football team out of field goal range.
Quarterback was outside the tackle box. There's no penalty on the play.
He got a break there.
Yeah, and that's not reviewable, so you can't go upstairs to look at that.
Mike McDonald, junior college transfer from Tyler Junior College. You see number 74, that's the tackle box right there. Maybe he just got outside of it, but boy, that was close.
And so Brandon Walker will come on for a field goal try, another true freshman for Charlie Weiss.
You just draw that line straight back from the tackle to the quarterback. It was a little too close for comfort.
From 35 yards, blocked and picked up by the Boilermakers, Mike McDonald. And McDonald almost gets to midfield. Alex McGee blocked it, and McDonald takes it out to the 50-yard line.
Where they're going to get pressure from the left side of the formation right in here. It's kind of going to get just enough penetration. One of the big fellas inside look like number 92, Alex McGee. Number 71 gets a big paw on it, and then all of a sudden it's off to the races for Mike McDonald. But if it could go wrong, it has gone wrong for Notre Dame here in the first half of this ball game. Boy, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that locker room at halftime with Charlie Weiss.
I wouldn't, because it gets swatted. Here's Painter underneath to Lyman. This is still a lot of time for Purdue's dangerous offense, and Lyman going to stop the clock, and then a late hit. Hit out of bounds by Bruton and Zibikowski. Another penalty on Notre Dame.
Now, you talk about a high-powered offense, 47 seconds left in the first half, and they still have a timeout. That's a lot of time. Take into account that every time you get a first down.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 27 on the defense. The 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
Every time you get a first down, the clock's going to stop. This is close, but yet and still it is a penalty. Right there, you got to pull up. David Bruton a little bit late, going to draw the flag of the official every time. You see a guy, his momentum is taking him out of bounds. Basically, he's got 1 foot out of bounds already, and you hit him, you're going to get a flag thrown on you.
You see the timeouts, those yellow dashes under the school name. So 1 left, as you say, for Purdue. Play fake. Painter with a ton of time. Pass downfield, picked off inside the 5-yard line by Kyle McCarthy.
But Painter tried to force that one. Had a receiver right in front of him, and he tried to force one to the end zone to make a play. And he's kind of getting an earful from the offensive coordinator. Right here, you're going to see him. There's going to, all of a sudden, right there, number 25, right in your window. Go ahead and give him the football. He tries to force one to Dorian Bryant, and Dan Deering is open right in front of him. Just give him the football. Plenty of time left on the clock.
And that's only the second interception this year thrown by Painter.
Yeah, and you got a timeout in your back pocket.
And now, if you're Notre Dame, you're not out of jail yet. You're inside the 5-yard line. First down from the 3. A running play to Allen. And that gives Clausen some breathing room close to the first down marker at the 13.
Well, they're just content right now to kind of give Notre Dame, just keep them in front of them, let that clock run and get into halftime. And Notre Dame right now just not wanting to make a mistake to give this football back to Purdue.
I don't think Notre Dame will have to run a play here.
Boy, it's ugly already. It's 23-0, but it could have easily been a lot worse in this first half.
Yeah, with 2 turnovers inside your own 20-yard line, and Purdue only gets a field goal out of one of them. So they do run a play, and Allen gets the first down. That will stop the clock. Now they're going to let the clock run down to 0. So that's the end of the first half. And again, a miserable first half offensively for Jimmy Clausen and Notre Dame. Purdue 23, Irish nothing.
Wow.
And Notre Dame trying to end a 6-game losing streak, second longest in school history. And let's check in with Aaron Andrews.
Well, Coach, you said you wanted to see Jimmy run the offense instead of call it. How would you evaluate his play here in the first half?
I thought he, except for the interception where he threw the ball across his body, I thought he actually played okay. We just didn't run the ball very well and put all the pressure on the passing game.
What adjustment do you make on your running game here?
Well, right now we got to get some points on the board. It doesn't make any difference whether we run or pass it. We got to get. We're down 23. We got to get it to a 2 or 3 score game right now before a game gets out of reach.
Coach, thanks. Dave.
All right, Aaron, and that means Jimmy Clausen is going to have to make some plays. They're down 23 points to Purdue at the half. Now let's join Scott Van Pelt, Lou Holtz, Mark May, and the Pontiac Performance halftime report. Fellas, the history of Notre Dame football mirrors that of college football itself. Legends, Heisman winners, champions. But the past is a ghost, and the present is what haunts Notre Dame. After an 0-4 start to the 2007 season, so wake up the echoes, please, say the Notre Dame faithful. The future is here, and the luck of the Irish had better change soon. But it did not change in the first half of today's game with Purdue, down 23-0 as we get ready to start the third quarter. With Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews, I'm Dave Pasch, and it could have been a lot worse. Purdue 5 of 5 in the red zone, but only 23 points.
Yeah, a couple of turnovers at point-blank range, and you take those field goal attempts that the Notre Dame defense was able to hold Purdue to, and you add some points on that, it could be a lot uglier than it is right now.
And you have to wonder, if you're Charlie Weis, where is the offense going to come from? How do you turn things around?
Well, I think you just got to go back to the basics, start running the football, get you a nice running game going, some nice short throws for Jimmy Clausen to get his confidence going.
Good return by Jabby out to the 37-yard line. Notre Dame only rushed for 26 yards in that first half. Jimmy Clausen was 11 of 17, 106 yards and a pick.
You know, Aaron kind of broke it that Charlie Weis wanted to throw the football in this game, and coaches sometimes can just be downright stubborn. And the best thing they do is run the football. They come off. They've got some good young running backs. I thought early in the football game especially, you establish the run in the line of scrimmage, you give yourself a chance. You got to find a way to keep this high-powered Purdue offense off the field.
But they're trying to throw the ball. It is a screen pass that's dropped by Travis Thomas. Well, he talked about the fact that Notre Dame rushed for under 30 yards after a $117 against Michigan State last week. Purdue, meanwhile, with 73 total rushing yards, but Corey Sheets by himself has got 101 yards.
Well, if you watch the film on Notre Dame, you think they could do that right there. Run the football a little bit better. They did it against Michigan State last week. Only 26 yards in the first half on the ground for the Irish.
How about that? 32 plays for Purdue in Notre Dame territory. Good throw by Clausen. It's a first down to midfield. Caught by Robbie Paris, his first catch of the day. Down to the field, and Aaron Andrews.
Dave, you asked earlier, where's Notre Dame's offense going to come from? Well, it's not going to come from Clausen to David Grimes. He didn't even walk the team back onto the field. He came on by himself with a trainer. It looks like an apparent ankle injury. Notre Dame doesn't give injury updates, but he had that right ankle taped up pretty high, guys.
Yes, David Grimes, the wide receiver, out of this ball game with an ankle injury.
First down. And they'll run it with Aldridge. And there's just not a lot of running room. Did well to get 2 or 3. Stanford Kegler led the charge for a Purdue defense that's looked better against the run today than it had the previous 4 weeks.
Yeah, they got pushed around a little bit at the end of last season in the bowl game against Maryland. And talking to Joe Tiller, they wanted to get physical up front, and they spent the offseason doing that, trained to get bigger and stronger along the defensive line. And I'll tell you what, it's paying dividends this season.
Defensive coordinator Brock Spack, a bright young coordinator in the Big Ten. Clausen on the play fake has Schwab out of the backfield and wrestled down at the 42-yard line by Josh Ferguson, about a yard shy of a first down.
Well, you see the rushing defense of Purdue right here. You know, hadn't allowed a whole lot of yards, and then against Minnesota, just a big outbreak of yards right there, 232 against a good running football team in Minnesota. But over the years, they've always been known to be able to run the football, Minnesota. But today, they have been just downright stingy against Notre Dame.
And to a man, Purdue coaches and players said, we got to pick it up in the second half defensively. That's where they've struggled in the last 2 games. Likely a face mask thrown as Cliff Averill makes the tackle on James Aldridge.
77 on the offense. 10-yard penalty in the previous spot. Replay third down.
Well, apparently Averill got the shoulder pad of Aldridge as Turkovich gets called for holding.
Well, Turkovich known as a pretty good run blocker. His father played a little college football at a place called Washington and Jefferson. But there, the youngster, the junior out of Bedford, Pennsylvania, gets flagged for the holding call.
Instead of a first down, now you got a third down and long again, and Notre Dame has not, prior to this game today, converted a third down and 10 or longer.
I mean, it's like you mentioned, every time they seem to get something positive started, they wind up behind the down and distance marker, and you got a young quarterback, Jimmy Clausen. If he's going to live back there, it's going to be painful for Notre Dame offensively.
But they do have a conversion today of third down and 10 plus. And Clausen, somebody's got to get open. Guys just standing around as Clausen runs out of bounds. You got to help your quarterback out a little bit downfield.
Well, that's the difference right now in the offenses of Purdue and Notre Dame. When Curtis Painter gets himself into some trouble, his receivers experience, Dorian Bryan, Greg Orden, Selwyn Lyman, they move with the quarterback and give him some options once things break down up front. Right now, the Irish, like you mentioned, Clausen gets himself in a scramble type situation. Nobody's moving. Everybody just stops. And now he's looking around with no one to throw the football to.
And you see Grimes likely done for the day, as Aaron told you. Mossed on to boot it away to the dangerous Dorian Bryan. And fair caught at the 10. So Purdue's offense will take the field for the first time in the second half. And when we come back, 23-0 Boilermakers. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. Here in West Lafayette, Purdue all over Notre Dame, 23-0, looking to go 5-0 before Ohio State comes calling to West Lafayette next Saturday night. They're backed up at their 10-yard line, but they've had a couple of length of the field drives already in this game. And Sheets, a big reason why, picks up about 7 out to the 17-yard line.
Corey Sheets has done a pretty good job of finding soft spots in this Irish defense. They've gotten them where they're just lining up in 4-1 up front or 4-2 fronts, and the big offensive line just kind of firing off and giving Corey Sheets some nice looks and some nice running lanes to get himself started.
Over 100 yards rushing so far today, 6th 100-yard game of his career. And Painter with a dangerous throw, and a flag comes in as Lyman was being held by Darren Walls.
Yeah, Darren Walls had a tough game last year against Selwyn Lyman when he went for over 260 yards in receiving. They're going to call this one on Lyman.
Lyman pushed off on Walls, who has a touchdown this year, scored the first touchdown for Notre Dame back week 2 against Penn State on an INT.
1 on the offense. Penalty be half the distance. Replay second down.
Selwyn Lyman, big old strong athletic guy. Doesn't look like he's moving when he's running, but he covers a lot of ground. And there, kind of put his hands on the defensive back, Darren Walls. Purdue, for maybe the first time in this game, behind the down and distance mark.
And it's so cliche to say this, but Notre Dame needs a turnover. They need something positive to happen, give their offense a short field. And a good play defensively by Joe Brockington, wrapping up the running back Corey Sheets at the point of attack. That's 7 stops now for Brockington.
Yeah, Brockington was a pretty good, a solid special teams player the last 2 seasons before moving into the starting role this year. Played in that, he was invited to the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, but in San Antonio, but didn't play due to an injury when he was a senior out of high school. Good player.
Second-year starter. There are 6 first-year starters on this Notre Dame team defensively. Big third down for Notre Dame's defense. And Painter surveying the field, finds his tight end Dustin Keller, and great second effort might be enough for the first down as he had Kyle McCarthy riding him for an additional 2 yards.
Well, they have just, I'll tell you, tackled poorly in this football game. Had an opportunity to make a play, and all of a sudden he's going to come up with a big first down. Right here you're going to see Dustin Keller working inside. Nice job, nice route. Obviously, you get there, Kyle McCarthy's got to find a way to get him and keep him short of the first down marker. Now you give him a little bit of breathing room. You do that with Purdue, they end up making you pay at the end of drive, Dave.
And Joe Tiller says Dustin Keller might be the best tight end he's ever had, and that includes Tim Stratton, who won the Mackey Award back in 2001. Oh, fumble, bad exchange. Painter trying to dive on it, and he got it back. So a loss on the play, but for Painter's sake, the Boilermakers able to keep the football as we go back to the studio and check in with Scott.
Thank you, Dave. Each week we honor the AT&T All-American Player of the Week. To vote, simply text VOTE to 87654 on your AT&T wireless phone for a chance to qualify to win a trip to the national championship game. We get right back now to West Lafayette, Purdue, all over Notre Dame.
And you talk about the national championship game, Scott. A lot of people think LSU going to be in that game, but only a 1-point lead against Tulane.
Yeah, tough, hard-fought ball game they're going through down there with the Green Wave.
Meanwhile, it's been pretty easy for Purdue, and Painter underthrows it, and Zibikowski intercepts. That's what Notre Dame needs, as it's picked off by the senior Zibikowski, the two-time All-American.
Well, they blitz Joe Brockington, and he gets in the face of Curtis Painter. All of a sudden, the big-time player in the secondary, you're going to see the delayed blitz right here coming in on Curtis Painter. And Zibikowski, their leader on that side of the football, and you just talked about it. Notre Dame needing a turnover. Tom Zibikowski right there to give him one.
Shouldn't be surprised that he is the guy that comes up with the big play. A terrific leader, character guy, and obviously a great football player. And that's 2 interceptions by Painter today. Had only 1 the whole season coming in. Clausen hangs in there and makes a big-time throw as he gets crunched. Caught inside the 25-yard line by Kamara.
And that's a nice, easy throw to Deval Kamara from Jimmy Clausen, trying to change the tempo a little bit, going a little no huddle here, Charlie Weiss.
And Haygood was the one that flattened Clausen, but he hung in there and made the play. From the Purdue 22, Clausen into the air again over the middle, and again caught at the 10-yard line by Kamara. Another true freshman, 6'5", 220 pounds.
Well, Jimmy Clausen looks a little bit gimpy, kind of limping around a little bit. And I'll tell you what it does. When you go no huddle like this, it takes a lot of the thought process out of it for Jimmy Clausen, a young player. Nice little 1, 2, 3, and now he can just step into a throw right there. He knows where he's going with the football based on the pre-snap read. Just give it to him and throw the ball inside to his receiver.
Clausen finds Jabby out of the backfield. It was ugly, but it's a catch. However, they lose a yard on the play.
Clausen is in some pain.
Well, he got smacked. He's going to go to the sideline and maybe come out for a play.
May have to spend the time out here to get his get the cobwebs out a little bit.
It was Anthony Haygood that leveled him.
Haygood comes off the edge. You see him right there, number 42, and he hits him right in the hip. And that's kind of the area that Jimmy Clausen was grabbing when he went off the field just now.
So Evan Sharpley, who was the backup to Brady Quinn, and now the backup to Jimmy Clausen. This is the 4th time in 5 games that he's gotten in there. Got to come up big on 2nd down and goal from the 11. Sharpley with time to the end zone, knocked away and incomplete. Linebacker Stanford Kegler with a pass breakup. Looked like there was a man underneath for Notre Dame in the end zone, but that pass thrown to the 2nd man at the back of the end zone.
Sanford Kegler, a nice athletic linebacker who played Sam linebacker last year. You see him in coverage there. He's matched up on a wide receiver, Deval Kamara, who has caught a couple of slant routes, and you got a big receiver matched up on a linebacker. You think you've got the advantage, but Kegler's right there step for step with him.
And Clausen comes back into the game. Looked like Sharpley went to the wrong guy. There was a guy underneath, George West, in the end zone. Instead, he went to the back of the end zone. After one play, Clausen's coming back. Back in West Lafayette. That guy looks familiar doing deadlifts. I'm trying to place him.
This guy trying to keep his young body in shape right there.
I think it's the same guy who said he had 1 year of eligibility left.
I felt a little inferior when the Purdue football players started coming in there. Had to hit the exit door.
A lot of them were About 3 years old when you won the Heisman Trophy,
and in a lot better shape than I am, trust me.
Clausen back in after going out for one play. 3rd down and goal. They're going to run it. And down to the 5-yard line, Armando Allen. So apparently Charlie Weiss was thinking 4 downs, right? I mean, otherwise, why would you run that play?
Well, you know, it's you can kick a field goal here. It just becomes a 3-score game, which I think well, he's going to bring the big personnel in and try to knock one in here. I don't understand it. You're going to need a field goal at some point anyway. It's a 4-score game here. Purdue stops you. You have a chance to get at least some points on the board. Maybe they're just going to try to draw them offsides, get a little closer. Who knows?
True freshman Robert Hughes in the backfield here on 4th down and goal. Clausen to the back of the end zone. And it's a touchdown. First career passing touchdown for Jimmy Clausen. He finds his veteran tight end John Carlson.
Turns out it was a good call. And it looked like, you know, a little mix-up in coverage. But Torrey Williams, who had checked himself into the game, had an opportunity to make a play on the ball. Clausen had tremendous pressure, sat in there, and delivered his first touchdown pass of his young career.
Had Carlson open in the back of the end zone, and Carlson made a great catch. And now Walker on for the extra point. Well, you had to think as Walker misses that. You still had to think, though, that based on that 3rd down call that Charlie Weiss was going to go for it all the way. But it still can't be easy for the Irish. They end up missing the extra point.
Now you see him here, and Haygood trying to doing a little exchange. He falls off of him. Torrey Williams falls off his man. The ball, I'll tell you, if it's thrown any later, this may get picked up. But it was a nice touch over the top just to allow John Carlson, the senior tight end, to go up and come down with a football for a touchdown pass for Jimmy Clausen.
Mel Kiper ranks Carlson as the #1 senior tight end. And an excellent student, has his degree in history, a GPA of 3.97.
Unselfish player, good blocker, is a captain on this football team, Mackey Award candidate. He is a good football player. We'll watch him play on Sundays.
You know, that extra point really potentially hurts Notre Dame. I want to talk about that, but first let's check in down on the field with Aaron Andrews.
Dave, I had a chance to speak with John Carlson this week, and I talked to him about the chance he decided not to go to the NFL, wanted to come back one more year, the 0-4 start, and how has that affected him. He said, obviously, this isn't the way I wanted my final year to go. It hasn't been easy, but took such a positive outlook on it and said, I've got to believe a season like this and the leadership that I have on the sidelines talking to the young guy will help me in the NFL. So great to hear that from a guy like John Carlson.
He's a big fella, 6'6". You know, they're usually playing small forward for someone.
Yeah, and that's certainly going to help his quarterback, Jimmy Clausen. After the missed extra point, kickoff into the dirt. Here's Dorian Bryant. And Bryant tackled at the 38-yard line. Back to the studio once again. Here's Scott Van Pelt.
Dave, thanks a lot. Kentucky maybe in a look-ahead game. The boys here have dubbed it Sleepwalk Saturday. Florida Atlantic goes in, and they've beaten Minnesota this year. They can score points. It's Rusty Smith to Cortez Gent. Florida Atlantic keeping it close, but Andre Woodson, this guy's going to play on Sundays, to Dickie Lyons Jr., and Kentucky bounces right back there ahead by 11. Highest ranking for them, by the way, in 30 years. LSU now up by 1. Peerloo is going to start the second half, but Flynn's back in, so still close down in the Superdome. Gentlemen?
Yeah, Woodson, the best quarterback in the country, in my opinion.
No question. You know, we're talking before we threw it down to Aaron about that missed extra point by Notre Dame. If you make it, it's a 2-score game because 2 touchdowns and a pair of 2-point conversions. And now a drop ball by Corey Sheets out of the backfield. You know, we show you coming back from break a guy that, boy, I admire for his lifting skills here in the locker room. Who is that guy?
Some old bones right there.
That's Andre. Those guys are like, who is that guy?
That's it.
He won the Heisman Trophy?
Spent.
Those guys were in their cribs when he won the Heisman. But I'll tell you, though, I was impressed, man. You're not kidding about that year of eligibility. Sheets grabbed and wrestled down after a loss of 1 by John Ryan. How you feeling today, Chief?
A little sore. The lower body's a little beat up. doing some presses, but you know, you kind of got to keep yourself in shape.
Well, you got great stamina, and that's something Purdue defensively has not had this year. Last 2 games, they've struggled defensively in the second half. Seems to be, at least early, happening again with Notre Dame able to score.
Yeah, in the last couple of games, they've been unable to close out opponents in a fashion that they've played in the first half of the game. So we'll see if they can go ahead and close it. Talking to the coaches here at Purdue, that's the main thing they preached to their players this week, was to close this game, play 60 minutes.
On 3rd down and 11, Painter's pass incomplete, intended for Bryant. Coverage by Wooden, and Purdue will have to punt after a 3-and-out.
Yeah, all of a sudden, life being breathed into the lungs of this Notre Dame football team. Purdue, a couple of chances here, and then they're going to punt it back to to Notre Dame. And Jimmy Clausen with a hot hand. We may get ourselves a ball game here if they're able to get some points.
22 points allowed to Central Michigan in the second half by Purdue. 28 points allowed to Minnesota in the second half. Zibikowski fair catch at the 20. Notre Dame already with 6 and looking for more in the second half against the Boilermakers. And Painter, after that last 3rd down incompletion, hit late by Brian Smith. Cheap shot, but no penalty called on the Irish. This telecast available on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. Dave Pasch with the physical specimen in the weight room that is Andre Ware, making kickers scared everywhere. Notre Dame taking over, 1st down after the punt, and Clausen with a strike. And his favorite target here in the second half, Duval Kamara, another true freshman, out to the 36.
Yeah, last couple of possessions, you see Jimmy Clausen here getting a hot hand in the passing game, and it's been the slant route to Duval Kamara, his big-time wideout 6'5" freshman right there. Another slant route, and he just completed another one. Then he goes over the top for his first touchdown pass of his career to John Carlson. But it's been the inside slant pattern that he's been completing. Now he's on the sideline, taking a breather.
And a running play as Sharpley just hands it off to Junior Jabby. That looks like a different injury. It was a leg injury for Clausen last possession, and here they're working on the midsection. And it was Haygood again that hit Clausen, hit him on the last drive and on this one as well.
Yeah, Haygood, I thought it was right around that hip area on the big time hit before, and he kind of limped off. He was holding his hip. But you get one of those hip pointers, they don't go away real quick. They stick around for a little while.
Sharpley to throw, man wide open to the 40-yard line is Robbie Paris. Down the seam, Paris makes the catch, and here come the Irish.
Good job with the eyes by Evan Sharpley, looking defenders off and then finding guys in the open zones. And all of a sudden, Notre Dame having some rhythm offensively, trying to get themselves back into this ball game.
This is the best they've looked throwing the football all season long. 1st down at the Purdue 40. Pressure coming. Sharpley doesn't see it. Down he goes. Torrey Williams blitzing and taking down Sharpley.
It's a great story about Torrey Williams, but here going to blitz off the corner. Nice delayed blitz off the edge. They send 2 guys. The back has to pick one up, and it allows Torrey Williams to come free. But he was a starter 2 years ago, had multiple surgeries from the knee down in 2 years, and now he's rehabilitated himself. He's back, and he's faster than he was before the injuries.
Sharpley in trouble again, but finds Carlson. And he gets positive yardage to the 37, tackled by Kegler. Sharpley, he's got to stay in the game because there's no Demetrius Jones. Remember, he has left Notre Dame and is now going to go to Cincinnati.
Well, I think he does. I like the job he did there on 2nd down. You can't get it all back. Try to get some of it just to manage yourself on 3rd down and get yourself in a position. This may be 4-down territory for Notre Dame. You pick up some positive yards here. It's still a long field goal, so you may be forced to go for it again on 4th down.
Sharpley's pass caught. Yep, knee was down. Paris, as he pulled it in, had his knee down. So he's down at the 31. 4th down coming up. And Sharpley going to go to the sideline.
That decision
Clausen
time.
coming in. They're going to go for it on 4th down.
Clausen still got a little hitch in his giddy up. Still limping around a little bit with that hip.
4th down and 1. Junior Jabby in the backfield. It's a running play, and Jabby wrestled down short of the 30-yard line by Eugene Bright. Let's see where they spot it. It looked like he got it from the spot.
I think he's short. You know, he was well deep into the backfield. And they reverse pivot Jimmy Clausen. He reverses out, which takes a long period of time, allows the defensive lineman to get tremendous penetration. They're the linebackers, and then it's Haygood, who's unaccounted for on the outside. He and Josh Ferguson come up and make the stop, and Purdue taking away the momentum of the Notre Dame offense.
You look at offensively what they've done the last 3 times they've had the ball, a couple of turnovers. Notre Dame now 1 for 3 on 4th down with the 1 conversion. A touchdown pass by Clausen. See if Painter picks it up. 2 interceptions already in the game. Finds Bryant. What a move by Dorian Bryant on a pretty good safety. Zibikowski out to the 46-yard line. Back to the studio and Scott.
Gave a little defense there, West Lafayette. There wasn't much defense in the first half between Illinois and Penn State, but here down close, Nittany's knocking on the door trying to tie. Rodney Kinlaw blasted by Antonio Steele. Illinois defense rises up, holds him to a field goal. Penn State has gotten the football back on a punt. Michigan knocking on the door, trying to climb back in it. They still trail by 9. Iowa creeping back into it at home against Indiana.
Boy, Lloyd Carr feeling the pressure as well.
Lyman caught it, but there's a flag down. Got close to the 1st down, but looked like Zach Reckman, the left guard, had a hold of a Notre Dame defender.
Yeah, kind of drags him down from behind.
Holding 75 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
Well, for a look at a huge night of college football, we'll check in with Brent Musburg a little bit later for a preview of some of the games coming up tonight. 3 great games on the family of networks tonight.
Good night of football ahead.
Ohio State coming off that thrashing of Northwestern in Columbus. At Minnesota tonight, a team that took it on the chin from Purdue, but the Gophers managed to score points in the second half on Purdue's defense, something Notre Dame is doing so far. Here's Durking, true freshman running back, to the 43-yard line. Now a check-in with Brent Musburger on the huge night of college football.
Any one of these teams in action makes for an exciting Saturday night. But a night with all 3 should not be missed. Top-ranked USC marches on Washington. Defending champ Florida looks to avenge its only loss of last year. 8th-ranked Ohio State wants to make its case for another crack at the title. Number 1, number 4, number 8, all in prime time.
And meanwhile, a catch by Lyman out to the 49, going to bring up 3rd down. There is a penalty flag down. Florida trying to avenge that loss to Auburn as there's an offensive face mask called.
Personal foul. Grabbing the face mask. Number 75 on the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
I want to ask you about USC, Andre, while we have a moment. 2 road games against unranked Pac-10 teams last year were losses.
Yeah, and they've got a tough one coming up down the road. Oregon's going to be a tough football game. I think they'll have their hands full tonight against Washington, certainly, but Cal on the schedule as well. It's not going to be an easy road for the Trojans. And you see the top 10 here. You see the AP top 10. LSU struggling today against Tulane, Oklahoma right there, Florida. West Virginia already, they're going to drop out of the top 10. I got a feeling with that loss to South Florida last night.
Painter finds Bryant on the screen. So 2nd down and 26 play, and Bryant gets a few to the 33 before McCarthy makes the tackle.
That was designed against man defense, trying to catch Notre Dame in man-to-man, and then once you pick somebody off and shake Dorian Bryant free. But Tom Zibikowski does a good job rallying up. Darren Walls rounding him up before he's able to get started. He's an explosive player. So Bukowski he can play a little bit himself.
You just saw up there above our score, we've got some running stat total. 7 catches for Dorian Bryant. 3rd down and 21. Notre Dame trying to stop and get the ball back. And Painter flushed out and pushed out. And that's really silly.
Not a smart play.
Brian Smith, who got the cheap shot that was not seen by the official when he hit Painter in the jaw after he released the pass. But just a bonehead play on the sideline.
Well, that's not even a makeup call. That's the call for right then.
Personal foul. 58 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I know Charlie Weiss is saying he wasn't out of bounds.
Yeah, he
he
can say what he wants to. This is a personal foul right here. Quarterback's clearly headed out of bounds. He's not trying to get any more positive yards. And like you mentioned, Brian Smith got away with one earlier right there. That's going to draw a flag every time. It's a first down for Purdue.
That's the 3rd first down that Notre Dame has given Purdue because of a penalty. And I know Charlie Weiss upset with the officiating, but he needs to be upset with his true freshman Brian Smith.
Yeah, and that's who he should be griping out right there, that young man, not the officials. Officials going to call that one every time.
So instead of the ball back, Purdue's got a first down to the 42. Here's Durking on the carry. Penalty flag down as Durking gets tagged by Maurice Crum Jr. But again, a flag down thrown right at the back of Crum.
Robbie Powell misses a block.
Personal foul. Grabbing the face mask. 57 on the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's Dwight Stevenson. Frustration penalties by Notre Dame, perhaps?
Yeah, it looks like that. You know, when you start making those types of mistakes in there, kind of getting the attention of the head coach, Charlie Weiss, but face mask penalty, and all of a sudden a personal foul penalty on the quarterback, hitting him late out of bounds. You see the penalty yardage right there. For Notre Dame for 55 yards.
You know, Andre, I don't think that Charlie Weiss has ever had a greater challenge. He's got to try to manage an 0-4 football team, manage egos, manage guys who were high school stars now playing in a losing football team. Didn't have to really deal with this coaching for Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick. And another Notre Dame penalty.
Freebie right here.
And Painter going for Orton, overthrew him. But 3 straight Notre Dame penalties. It looked like Brian Smith again for Notre Dame, who was offside.
Brian Smith may need to take a little break, get himself some Gatorade, simmer down, and that's exactly where he's headed, is to the sideline.
58 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
And Corwin Brown with a word for Smith. Now, he mentioned the fact that Charlie Weiss coached for Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick with the Patriots a couple of times, the New York Jets and the Giants. And here are some of the members of the Billy Club. Nick Saban, a lot of people forget that, with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Eric Mangini, Pat Hill on there from Fresno State.
Mangini was an intern at one point with the Browns when Belichick was there. Painter dumps it off to Sheets for the first down inside the 15. Let's check in with Scott back in the studio.
Dave, thanks. The guys here joking that it was sleepwalk Saturday, and maybe the Giants are waking from their slumber after a field goal made it a 4-point lead. It's Hester again to the end zone. LSU, not as impressively as some might have thought, but now more comfortable, an 11-point lead. South Carolina got a field goal right before the half. Kentucky stretching their lead out. Georgia has scored again. They lead Ole Miss 14-10. Those are the scores in the SEC. We send you back to Big Ten country, Dave.
So some good games in the SEC.
Yeah, LSU with throwback unis on today.
You like those, huh?
I like them.
First down to the 12. Painter with the fake. And out of bounds, but another flag thrown at Darren Walls, who is covering Greg Orton, the intended receiver.
Well, he's got his hands full. Greg Orton's a big, long, rangy receiver, 6'3", about 200 pounds, runs very well. He has tremendous vertical leap right at 30 inches.
There's no penalty on the play.
It's uncatchable.
Ball was uncatchable.
Yeah, it's 5 yards out of bounds, so that's why they didn't throw that's why they picked up the flag. Excuse me.
Yeah, Curtis Painter, you see nice outside release. You better get your hands on him quick to kind of disrupt that route. I don't know. That one's tough.
You think so? Think he could have caught that?
Yeah, he's a big fella.
Yeah, 6'4".
He can leap. Got somebody hanging on your jersey, you can't get off the ground.
You got a point. Durking in the backfield on 2nd and 10. And he'll get it, and he's going to get hit in the backfield by Trevor Laws. 3rd down and long. Can Notre Dame hold again in the red zone?
Well, this defense played a lot of snaps and still playing some inspired football. Trevor Laws, Tom Zibikowski, guys still in there fighting, the seniors on this team. Maurice Crum with a couple of big hits in this ball game, but they're not going to quit. They're going to fight till fight for 60 minutes.
Laws came into this game tied with all defensive linemen in the country for tackles, and he's got 6 more today, including 2 for a loss and a sack. Painter out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 11. They can get a 1st down without having to get a touchdown, as Bryant can't make the catch. That pass thrown a little hot, and it's 4th down.
Well, sometimes when you have that big arm, young quarterbacks like a Curtis Painter, he's got experience, but he's trying to zip this one in. He's got Dorian Bryant wide open right there. He comes in, just lead him. Put some nice touch on the football out in front, and this one doesn't have to be steamed in there. He just lead him away from the defensive back there, Ambrose Wooden. So just throw him a nice catchable football.
29-yard field goal try. Make that 30 yards officially. 30-yard try by Summers, who's 3 for 3 today. And he's 4 for 4 as Purdue adds 3 more and has a 20-point lead on Notre Dame. Well, we showed you earlier Andre Ware in the weight room, and one of the reasons we did that is Andre has to bulk up because you're going to be involved in a battle royal, so to speak.
Hello, battle royal. We got a Heisman list going, and from each week for the remainder of the season, we're going to have 11 guys. The guys will come on and off this list, but mostly off, and we'll get down to the final week or who we think's going to be on it. Someone got eliminated last night, and I think it's let me find the name. There it is, Steve Slayton, right there.
So you're taking him out.
Taking Slayton out.
But not Pat White, huh?
Not Pat White. Pat White was injured a little bit, and he still had a decent game, but he's going to remain there. Slayton's the guy that's gone. And you can, with a big performance, you can play your way back on the list.
Okay. Oh, so you can get back on.
You can get on the list. You can get back on it.
Okay.
You fall off from time to time.
Well, Slayton and West Virginia's offense totally stymied, and big picture. You made the comments we were talking last night. I don't know if anybody we thought was too fast for West Virginia, but it appears South Florida
Well, I tell you what, South Florida's got a fast football team, and they showed it last night against West Virginia. We got a chance to see that speed at West Virginia last week up close, and I didn't think there was a faster team in the country.
South Florida not only fast, but sound defensively.
Yeah.
Great tackles in the open field.
Well, Jim Leavitt doing one heck of a job this season.
He might be able to name his job after this year if he wants.
He may be the coach of the year when the season's over.
Armando Allen ripped down at the 18-yard line, and Notre Dame will have to start inside the 20. Kevin Green on the tackle. Back to the studio and Scott Van Pelt.
Thank you very much. Josiah Sears earlier had fumbled, scooped up by his quarterback and run in about 75 yards here. This time, Sears plows his way in. An important touchdown there as Iowa had kind of clawed back into it. Indiana doing a very nice and perhaps underappreciated job. Speaking of that, how about Duke, fellas? Since they beat Northwestern, they've played much better football. They're only down 3 in the Orange Bowl.
And it's not a gimme for Notre Dame later in the year against Duke.
Boy, after that shellacking of Texas A&M last week, Duke.
Clausen, he had him wide open. He had Golden Tate for a touchdown, but he threw it out of bounds. But he's limping around. He's been hit 3 or 4 times this half and has already had to come out twice.
Well, David Pender shows good recovery speed to get back and knock this football away. But I don't think Jimmy Clausen's healthy. It's tough to get a football out. You have to use your hips and your legs to throw the ball, especially when you're going deep like this. And he just couldn't get anything on this football. I think suddenly he's back on the sideline, and Evan Sharpley back in the game.
Well, I think you hit it there, and Charlie Weiss perhaps sensing that and bringing Sharpley back out there. And Sharpley looked solid when he was out there earlier and has a completion. Harris to the 25-yard line for what will likely be the final play of the third quarter. So third time that Clausen has had to be removed because we assume this third time is for the same reason as the other 2, for injury. After 3 in West Lafayette, Purdue by 20 as Notre Dame is staring at 0-5 for the first time in school history. Back in West Lafayette to start the fourth quarter with Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews. I'm Dave Pash. 26-6, Purdue on top. and backup quarterback Evan Sharpley in for the banged-up Jimmy Clausen. Sharpley playing for the 4th time this season. Backup last year to Brady Quinn. Was in the battle with the now transferred to Cincinnati Demetrius Jones and Clausen in the spring. Jones started the opener. Clausen has started since, but Sharpley in there now. 3rd down and 4, and the catch is made at the 32-yard line by Kamara for the 1st down.
Well, I tell you, they have just kind of I think every pass that Kamara has caught in this ball game has been a nice little 6-yard slant inside. He's getting that big frame in front of Terrell Vincent. Now you start to play him inside, maybe bait him for a slant and go. Show the nice little shoulder move inside and then straight up the field. Ball's got to be thrown on time, though.
Running play, Jabby tripped up by Justin Scott to the 37. Well, for those of you who've been in a cave, Notre Dame has never started 0-5, never started 0-4, and they're looking right now at their 7th consecutive loss. The longest in school history is 8 straight. Doesn't get any easier for Notre Dame, as we'll show you after this play in the next few weeks. 2nd down and 5. Sharpley getting away from trouble and overthrowing Kamara on the sideline. Make that West, who was the intended receiver. So up next, the Irish got to go out west to play UCLA, and then BC, USC.
Oh, it's tough, George. I got them losing at UCLA. Boston College will beat them. USC will beat them. Maybe they get one right here. That will be the first time that the Irish strike goal against Navy on November 3rd.
Then Air Force, followed by Duke, which you heard Scott Van Pelt tell you is playing well against Miami today. And then Stanford. Pass dropped by Kamara. Would have been a 1st down. Pressured by Vincent on the quarterback. Make that Vincent on the coverage, excuse me.
Vincent finally drives on a slant route. He's seen about 800 of them in this football game. The only pass they've really completed other than the touchdown to John Carlson. And finally he jumps inside. Like I said, it may be time to bait him inside, show him a slant move, and then straighten it up. Ball's got to be thrown on time. It's sitting there waiting for Evan Sharpley.
Well, Notre Dame has to go for it, but Sharpley's going to call timeout first. Notre Dame down 3 scores, needs to make a play here on 4th down. 1 timeout remaining. Well, in between quarters here in West Lafayette, they play the song Shout. The fans go nuts, and one of their own leading the way today here at Purdue.
Hey, Boilermakers, everybody on your feet. It's time to shout.
Shouting. I'm in with it.
Now, Breeze looks like he's in a pretty good mood for being 0-3 with the Saints. They have their bye week this week.
Boy, they've had a tough, rough start to their season. The New Orleans Saints, who would have thought after going to the NFC Championship game last year, they start the year 0-3.
And not like people thought Notre Dame was going to be a championship-type team this year, but certainly more was expected of them than 0-4. And they're looking at 0-5, especially if they can't convert here on 4th down and 5. Sharpley in for the banged-up Clausen, going deep here on 4th down. And what a catch at the 20-yard line. Beautiful grab by Golden Tate. 2nd time that he's done that here today.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got to find a way to get the football in Golden Tate's hands. Freshman out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. And right there, it's just a takeoff. Boy, this takes a lot of guts to throw this at this point in the ball game. You're looking just to pick up a 1st down, but boy, he climbs the ladder, times this thing. Well, look at the concentration. The eyes never leave the football. Right here, well-thrown ball. Eyes are glued on it, and a nice catch by Golden Tate.
43-yard pass play. And Sharpley to the air again. Caught by West inside the 15. Back to the studio again. Here's Scott.
Dave, thanks. You've got to value the football, especially in the red zone. If you're Anthony Morelli in Penn State, going in for perhaps the go-ahead score, he's picked by Jay Lehman. And after the scores were flying like a pinball machine in the first half, things have really slowed down. LSU still ahead by 11. Alan Patrick, a touchdown, has Oklahoma up 7 in Boulder. We get you back now to Dave on training.
Little defense being played there, finally, with Illinois and Penn State.
And Oklahoma has Texas next week. Jabby getting the first down to the 7-yard line. You know, going back to that pass play, 43 yards. That tied the longest play of the year for Notre Dame.
Boy, it's just been tough offensively for the Irish and making anything positive happen. But now you got a chance to get some points, take care of the football. Still a lot of time left in this game, and it seems like the momentum has shifted a little bit in favor of the Irish. So take care of things. You know, I know Jimmy Clausen was highly recruited, and he's a golden boy on campus and all that. But right now, Evan Sharpley has looked better in this football game, and that was before the injury.
Sharpley gets away from a would-be tackler and then gets creamed by the middle linebacker Josh Ferguson at the 7-yard line. Sharpley pops right up, though.
Yeah, he's come in and hit a couple of pass plays, and here shows a little bit of elusiveness to get himself away. You see it here in real speed. Just kind of let you listen to it. You know, that's a guy that's played a little experience, knowing not to throw the football into a crowded area. Get yourself down, don't take a big lick, and hold on to the football.
Clausen banged up, so that's why Sharpley's out there. 2nd down and goal. Sharpley to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Duval Kamara, his first college touchdown.
Well, he timed this baby up just right. The play fake's going to hold the linebackers, draw everybody in, and then Duval Kamara, right in the back of the end zone, on time with it is Evan Sharpley. And I'll tell you what, we got ourselves an interesting situation developing a quarterback for Notre Dame. Evan Sharpley has come in. He looks tremendous, and the players are responding to him.
And Nate Whitaker coming on for the PAT after Brandon Walker missed the last one. And he misses this one. Bad snap. And Sharpley had trouble getting it down. Did a great job quarterbacking. Had trouble there getting the ball down for the PAT. So a touchdown pass by Sharpley, but Notre Dame can't make an extra point. The serene look at the most famous river in the state of Indiana, Wabash River. And the antithesis of that inside Ross-Ade Stadium here in West Lafayette, as Notre Dame has come back to within 14 points. But it's never quiet here because either the Purdue fans are going nuts or the many Notre Dame fans that are here are going wild.
It's turned into a pretty good football game all of a sudden.
Whitaker and Tardy on the return. Whitaker kicking off, and Tardy wrapped up at the 25, dropped at the 27-yard line by Scott Smith. The NASCAR Nextel Cup Series coming down the home stretch. Now here's a preview of tomorrow's race in Kansas.
Last week in Dover, mayhem reigned on the Monster Mile, but nothing could stop Carl Edwards from flipping his way back into victory lane. Next up, NASCAR navigates its way into Kansas for the LifeLock 400. The thrill of the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup continues Sunday at 1 on ABC.
It's a great time of year in sports. College football, NFL, playoff races in Major League Baseball. As Sheets is tackled at the 31-yard line. Is that Ricky Bobby?
Ricky Bobby.
Love that outfit. We're going to get you one of those, Dre. In fact, we need to get you doing deadlifts in that outfit.
I don't know. Be a little bit hot for me.
Well, Notre Dame has gotten back within 2 scores because of a 43-yard pass play by Evan Sharpley to Golden Tate on 4th down and 5. But Notre Dame 2 missed PATs and a blocked field goal today. Painter throws it away, trying for the sideline. and all of a sudden, clock stop, and it's 3rd down and 6.
And you talked about Evan Sharpley. He's played pretty good in this football game coming in for Jimmy Clausen. And sometimes all you do is, how a team responds to a guy that's playing under the center. And I think right now, in the second half of this football game, they are responding better to Evan Sharpley and that Notre Dame offense than Jimmy Clausen. So I think it's going to be a decision to be made on who's going to pull the trigger for Notre Dame offensively next week. And it could be just a simple matter of Clausen's not ready to go with a hip injury.
Painter's thrown 2 picks in this game, only 1 the entire season coming in, and that pass a little bit offline, and it is incomplete. Bryant could not get the foot down, and now the officials conferring, and the ruling is incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
Well, watch how late Curtis Painter throws this football. He's got Dorian Bryant open right now, and he's still holding it, waits till he's way about on the sideline. He had him open about 2 seconds earlier, and he seems to be out of rhythm offensively. Passing game's kind of gone, a little bit south for Joe Tiller and this Purdue offense, and you're going to give Notre Dame a couple of shots at this. They can get themselves back in. They're going to have some great field position.
1 timeout remaining for Notre Dame. Zibikowski awaits at the 25. Dangerous punt returner. Flag down, and so is Zibikowski after only a 2-yard return. Aaron Lane, nice special teams tackle for Purdue. And again, a penalty marker in on the play.
Not sure we'll get the official word here.
Holding 15, the return team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
But it's Notre Dame ball, down 2 scores, and Evan Sharpley coming off his first touchdown pass of the season. Back in the game at quarterback when we return to West Lafayette.
You are currently watching a preview of NASN. Enjoy the best live North American sports action all weekend long. The puck drops on the new season of NHL with the opening games live from the O2 Arena in London, featuring the Ducks against the Kings. The MLB playoff places will be decided this weekend. See who makes it as the teams fight it out for World Series glory. To be part of the action, subscribe now. Call 08712003322 or visit NASN.com.
79th meeting between Purdue and Notre Dame. Second most among opponents for the Irish to Navy. And when Joe Tiller got here, it had been an 11-game losing streak for Purdue to Notre Dame, but he's beat the Irish 4 times, looking for number 5 as they get Sharpley after a gain of maybe 3. Did well just to get positive yardage. Let's go back to the studio and check in now with Scott Van Pelt.
Well, if LSU was trying to shake a hangover in New Orleans, they wouldn't be the first folks to ever be subject to that difficulty. But Charles Scott and the Tigers are finally flexing their muscles. Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. LSU on top by 18.
Took him a little while to wake up.
Sharpley almost threw an interception if Vincent had been paying attention, and it looked like George West went out of bounds anyway as the official had his hat off, and don't think he was blocked out of bounds, so he would have been ineligible to catch the ball. Our startling stat of the day, ladies and gentlemen, look at that, Notre Dame leading in total yards.
Well, that is startling. The start that Purdue had offensively in the first half, and they have just gone cold here since coming out of the locker room after halftime. Notre Dame's been the team with the spark, and it's all of a sudden they're showing it.
On 3rd down, drop by Carlson. Had Sharpley led him a little bit, he probably would have been able to catch it and pick up the 1st down. A tad behind him, and now it's 4th down. Do you go for it here? You went for it on 4th and 5 inside your 30 last time you had the ball.
I think he's going for it. He's trying to win games, and he had that play open. He may come right back to it again. Same formation, same play, going to his tight end, John Carlson. I don't know about this. Yeah. There's still a lot of time. You've got just 1 timeout left. I don't know about this.
You got 11 minutes. A lot of time left.
Maybe you just try to draw him off sides and then go for it if you shorten the 4th down here.
If you don't get it here, you might lose the game. Sharpley, with time, has a man open, and it's caught for a 1st down by Paris. Well, it looks like the right decision now as Charlie Weiss dials up the deep throw. and a first down out near midfield.
Boy, he's going to come into your screen just from the left side. But look at Evan Sharpley step into this throw, hitting Robbie Parrish right in stride. They try to go to somewhat of a prevent type look, and he finds a nice little window for Evan Sharpley to work through. Irish on the move.
And again, they're back up in there. Clausen banged up, so Sharpley is out there. Sharpley lost the ball, but it was batted down. His arm-going thrower going forward. Alex McGee made the play on the defensive line, batting it down. 10:45 to go here in the fourth. Purdue leading 26-12, but it looked like it was going to be a rout in the first half. But the Irish, in particular, Evan Sharpley, leading Notre Dame back within 2 touchdowns with Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews, Dave Pasch at a sold-out Ross-Ade Stadium in West Lafayette. Jimmy Clausen does have a touchdown pass, but banged up, so Sharpley's out there. Here comes a blitz. It's picked up. Sharpley's pass to the sideline through the hands of his intended receiver, incomplete, as Kamara was unable to pull it in. Terrell Vincent on the coverage that time.
A nice job in protection by John Carlson. They try to send Brandon King off the corner. Nice little delayed blitz from the secondary, and he's able to pick it off. Not only can he block in terms of run blocking, and he's caught a couple of passes, caught the touchdown pass from Jimmy Clausen, but they're showing that he can pick up the blitz as well.
On 3rd and 10. Sharpley's pass caught. And a great second effort by Carlson, taking Kegler for a ride. George West banged up. Notre Dame's already lost David Grimes, starting wide receiver.
Carlson shows some strength. He's 6'6", just under 260 pounds. And when he turned to go up the field, he just took about 2 or 3 Purdue defenders for a ride of about 3 yards.
West will stay in the game. 4th down. Notre Dame going for it here.
And they like to go to Junior Jabby, the running back that's in the backfield now in short yardage situations.
They got 24 yards on 4th and 7. They're going to get the first down here as Sharpley on the quarterback sneak gets to the 40-yard line.
Well, that's my favorite play in that situation. No ball handling. You just get it from the center, find you a nice little soft spot, get those shoulders going, legs pumping, pick up the first down.
And look at the demeanor of Charlie Weiss. I mean, we haven't seen those kind of facial expressions all year. You wonder if in his head he's thinking, hey, maybe Sharpley's my guy going forward.
I think he's got to be his guy going forward. You're in the business of winning football games, and I think Sharpley's the guy here.
And Sharpley going deep, one-on-one coverage down there, incomplete. Intended for Golden Tate, who caught a couple of those earlier in the game. Notre Dame converted a 4th down that went for a touchdown, and then we talked about one of those catches by Tate. This is a 4th and 5, 43-yard completion to Golden Tate.
Yeah, look at just the concentration was what impressed me on a young player like Golden Tate, and they try to go back to the well again on that previous play. Just overthrown a little bit too much.
So 2nd and 10 at the Purdue 40-yard line. Sharpley waits for a man to get open. It's Paris. And good job by Brandon King to hang on for dear life till help comes at the 35-yard line. Jimmy Clausen banged up earlier this half. Does have a touchdown pass, but you said it, Andre, not just Sharpley, but everybody else looks better right now anyway with Sharpley out there.
Sometimes the team responds to a guy. It's how he delivers the play in the huddle. He's an experienced guy, got a little playing time last year, and he's looked pretty good in this football game.
On 3rd down, good decision. He found Jabby. He could have thrown to Kamara, but he waited, and he found his check down for the first down to the 29.
Well, what happened was they had a collapse. Everybody's seen that play a couple of times. He looks there trying to go to Kamara. They drop inside and take it away, and he swings it out to Junior Jabby. Good job with the eyes and recognizing where to go with the football, where your safety valve is, a guy that can bail you out. Junior Jabby picking up the first down for the Irish.
A lot of time left in the game. 1 timeout for Notre Dame. Sharpley in trouble. Sharpley protecting the ball as he's sacked by Averill and McGee at the 36-yard line.
Now you got to recognize blitz as well when they're going to bring some pressure. You know that you've had some success. A good way to stop it or offset it is to bring a little pressure, a little heat. You're going to see right here 3-step drop, it better be going somewhere. You may get 2 gather steps after that and to look, and it better come out of your hands. It's a short drop. The defensive linemen are trying to get pushed, and McGee is able to come up with a sack.
2nd and 17. Trying to set up the screen. Jabby with the catch, and down to the 25. Pickup of 10. 3rd down coming up. Now Notre Dame, coming into this game, allowed 27 sacks. The school record is 38. They've done a better job, with the exception of that last jailbreak there, of protecting Notre Dame quarterback.
That was last in the country. 27 sacks in 4 games. 119th in the country in that department. But I'll tell you, second half of this ball game, they've been pretty sound up front, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 plays.
Sharpley, maybe a little bit pocket presence improvement over Clausen as he goes to the end zone. A diving attempt, and it's pulled in. Touchdown, and it's Golden Tate again. How about that throw by Sharpley, and an incredible grab by true freshman Golden Tate?
Well, if you're trying to win games, you go with Evan Sharpley. I mean, you get him ready to play. The team, they certainly respond to him. They play harder for him. Nice thrown football out to Golden Tate. He's done it on a couple of different occasions in this ball game, but none better than right there when they have to have it. Notre Dame back in this football game.
But they've missed back-to-back extra points. Whitaker finally got it to go, but a flag down.
Well, they finally make one, then the flag comes down.
Ball start. 74 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay the down.
2 missed extra points and a blocked field goal, and now a penalty after they make it. Sam Young, their left tackle.
Well, Nate Whitaker having a tough day.
And Walker missed one as well. This will be Whitaker, and again, it was really Sharpley, the holder last time, that botched it. Whitaker, about 26-yard extra point. Another flag down. He missed it, and there's another penalty flag. And I think this one's against Purdue.
Have offside. Number 10 in the defense is lined up in the neutral zone. Half the distance. Replay the try.
Gracious.
Royce Adams trying to get through. May have gotten there a little bit early. Oh, boy. You know, and you wonder if it's going to come back to haunt Purdue at some point, where they start games so fast but unable to finish. And it may happen this afternoon in this ball game with Notre Dame surging back into this thing.
The most eventful extra point in the history of college football.
It's been entertaining.
He's 1 for 2. Neither of them counted. Sharpley gets this one down. He made it.
And no flags.
And it's a 7-point game. Evan Sharpley, replacing the injured Jimmy Clausen in the second half, has led the Irish down on 2 scoring drives. Beautiful throw and catch. Notre Dame in search of win number 1, down just a touchdown. A lot of time left.
Welcome back to Purdue, where Notre Dame has just made things a little interesting. 26-19 our score, just walking by Notre Dame's offense. And behind the bench, Charlie Weiss was screaming to his offense, if we score again, we are going for 2. We are going to try to win this football game. Dave, you mentioned we're seeing expressions from Charlie Weiss we haven't seen all year. He was pretty fired up just then.
And Evan Sharpley, a big reason why. And Charlie Weiss told us this week, I love my wife and kids and players that start for me. And he doesn't have favorites. And that's why Sharpley's in there right now, perhaps. Clausen banged up, though, had to be replaced a couple of times. Dorian Bryant on the kick return, and he's wrapped up at the 41-yard line. Sergio Brown on the stop as we go back to the studio and Scott Van Pelt.
More defense in the Illinois game. Vontae Davis, yet another DC kid playing for Illinois. You saw Regis Bent earlier. He gets the pick here, leads to a field goal, 7-point lead for Illinois. But Morelli has hit Derek Williams, and they are now in the Illinois red zone trying to tie. As for Michigan, they've trailed throughout, senior to senior. Henny, Arrington, Go Blue on top, and they have just turned Northwestern over. They've got the ball with about 7:23 to go.
Well, some great games, Scott, and we're just getting started on this Saturday. The last one here in September. Couple of fakes going deep. Contact and a flag down as Orton collided with Walls. And we'll see what the ruling is here. But there was definitely contact.
Going to be interference on Darren Walls. Kind of held on to Greg Orton.
Holding. Number 2 on the defense. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, you get a look here. Receiver isolation working against Darren Walls and just kind of walking up. Nice play action, but you can't grab a handful of jersey and then have the guy go down. Boy, Greg Orton, he's a handful. No pun.
6'3", 200 pounds.
So I'm telling you, he is a strong kid that can really, really run.
That's the 5th first down that Notre Dame has given Purdue on penalties today. Corey Sheets been a quiet man here in the second half. And the run defense for Notre Dame getting better as Pat Kuntz makes the play. Gain of only 1.5 yards for Corey Sheets.
Call me crazy, but sometimes the quarterback has an influence on the entire football team. And Evan Sharpley came into this game. All of a sudden, everybody's playing better. The offensive line got better. The running backs got better. Tight end got into the game. And now the defense starting to play a little bit better as well. And I'm telling you, they're making things interesting in this football game, Notre Dame.
And Sheets has been shut down this half after over 100 yards in the first half. Sheets again, big hole this time on second down. Inside the 30-yard line. That's what they were doing in the first half, just gashing Notre Dame up the middle.
That's exactly how they started the football game. Right in the running game with Corey Sheets. You talk so much about that passing game right here. Nice little underneath handoff. He's going to find himself a hole. Look at the wash down by the big offensive lineman, Jordan Grimes, the right guard, and allows for Corey Sheets. Nice big hole, gets him all the way to the 3rd level of the defense.
3 plays, and Purdue is inside the Notre Dame 30-yard line. Painter going to run this time, and nobody picked it up. Zbikowski backed off, and Painter gets inside the 15. He fooled everybody with that ball fake to Sheets.
Oh, that was a nice play fake. Sheets goes into the line as if he's got the football, fools everybody, and just a bunch of green grass for the big quarterback. Watch him right here. Nice play fake inside, takes everybody down and inside. Now he's just out in a pasture by himself running. Well, Dave, I think if you get that much room, you could go for a first down.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I might have to think about that. 10 career rushing touchdowns for Painter, but none this year. Picks up the first down there. Back to Sheets now. And good job defensively. Zbikowski coming up and contain. And Maurice Crum Jr. there as well. No gain on first down.
Well, they expected Notre Dame coming into this game to play physical. So what they do, they try to spread them out and fool the defense into thinking, okay, we're going to spread you out and throw the football. But it was Corey Sheets early. Then they went to the passing game. Now later in the game, when they really need to run some of this clock off, they've gone back to how they started this football game with Corey Sheets and the running game.
Painter to the air, and what a grab! Caught by Dustin Keller, and it's a touchdown for Purdue!
Well, this is just one heck of an athletic play here on the part of Dustin Keller. The corner route by the tight end. And you'll see him coming to your screen right here. He's got to climb the ladder to go get this one, but watch the effort to get the ball over the cone or over the line into the end zone for the touchdown. Boy, that's just a heads-up play by a senior tight end with a lot of experience and a lot of athletic ability.
And remember, Notre Dame has already used its challenge. Any other replay, further review would have to come from the booth. Summers on to the extra point. And a great bounce back by Purdue, and tight end Dustin Keller with the catch.
Well, he is a good football player. Indiana High School state champ in the high jump, but he's just going to go here. Nice little corner route, nice little underneath, and all you're reading is the reaction of the corner to this side. He goes inside. Now I've got Keller wide open. Put the ball in the air, let him make a play for me. Well, that's what does it. You draw the attention of that corner, bring him inside with the underneath route, and it just kind of clears everything out over the top for Dustin Keller. Tom Zibikowski, he goes with the underneath route as well, along with the corner to that side, which cleared it out even more for Dustin Keller.
Came in as a wide receiver and turned into what Joe Tiller says is his best tight end ever. And remember, Tim Stratton, the tight end 6 years ago, won the Mackey for Purdue. 5th touchdown catch for Keller this year. 2nd TD pass by Curtis Painter today, 18th on the season.
You know, and that's the sign of a good football player, Curtis Painter. When you have to have a drive to quiet and kill the momentum of the opponent, of Notre Dame, they needed the drive. They had to have something. They went back to the run, mixed the run with the pass, and the result right now, momentum back on the sideline of Purdue.
I know we're 3 months away, but
hey,
I'm not even
thinking about shopping. I was on my way here, and a lady was on a plane talking about Christmas shopping already. I said, are you kidding me?
Notre Dame needs a gift now after that touchdown by Purdue. Short kickoff that'll be taken by Golden Tate, who's been the star for Notre Dame today, out to the 43-yard line. Well, tonight at 8 Eastern, 3 great national powers responsible for 4 of the last 5 national championships on the family of networks on ESPN2. It's number 8 Ohio State in Minnesota. Number 1 USC on ABC at 8 against Washington. And on ESPN, defending national champion and undefeated number 4 Florida taking on the only team to beat them in 2006, the Auburn Tigers. Great night of college football. What do you like in that Auburn-Florida game?
I like Florida. Florida's tough. Auburn having some problems right now.
Although that loss to South Florida at home doesn't look so bad, huh? Sharply with another strike, as that's pulled in downfield by Paris to the 36-yard line.
Well, it would be a tremendous injustice if this kid doesn't start next week for Notre Dame. Evan Sharpley, he's just playing some terrific football. Got him back in this football game, and he's playing with some confidence. That's not an easy throw. Let me tell you, that's not an easy throw, but right on time with it, steps into it, throws a nice catchable football.
He certainly has more experience than Clausen as a backup to Brady Quinn. Didn't play a whole lot, but did get some action. Flag down as that pass by Sharpley is dumped off to Carlson to the 33-yard line. Gain of a couple, and again a penalty marker in on the play.
Penalty markers on the play. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Hands to the helmet. 71 on the defense. 15-yard penalty out of the end of the run.
Yeah, watch this. This is what we call work in the pocket right here, and this is tough to learn for a young quarterback. Right here, you're getting tremendous pressure. Step up to where you're safe. You can't step outside because you're going to get sacked at that point. Work the pocket, step up, and nice footwork on the part of Evan Sharpley allowed him to avoid a sack, complete a pass, but then he gets a personal foul penalty. Boy, this kid is sharp.
Alex
no
McGee.
pun intended, but
yeah,
he is sharp.
McGee with the penalty. Speaking of sharp, 205 yards today for Sharpley. As you see what Notre Dame's done the last 2 quarters. He had 143 passing yards in his career coming into this game. And he's going to work again on the play fake. And Sharpley going to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for the 6-foot 5-inch Kamara, who is covered by the 5-foot 9-inch Terrell Vincent.
I think I got to figure out a way, I'm Charlie Weiss, get Golden Tate back in the football game. 2 catches he had were unbelievable with the hands, and that face mask was glued on the football. He's just what we call a playmaker. Just makes plays. Find a way to get him involved.
I think for Notre Dame fans, with Tate and Kamara, how they perform, Sharpley, Clausen, some of the guys on defense, Notre Dame at some point, maybe not this year, but is going to be back.
Blitz situation.
Sharpley's pass overthrown and intercepted. Vincent's second pick today.
Well, try to go to the well again. Forced one in there. It was going to John Carlson. Yeah, and that's what Charlie Weiss is going to tell him. You can't force the football. You got to go through your reads. You're trying to make too much happen. They picked on Terrell Vincent a couple of times in this game, but trying to go to the big tight end, number 89, John Carlson here. You see the fall off by the corner. Don't know who the receiver was on the sideline, but once you see the corner fall back inside, you have one wide open back here.
So Purdue takes over on its 20-yard line, and you wonder, has Notre Dame run out of gas? You know, I thought that a couple times, and the Irish behind Sharpley.
No, they just
need big plays, but
need a turnover of their own.
Running play, cheats as they wisely keep it on the ground, try to chew up some clock out to the 24-yard line. Tonight, John David Booty and the #1 ranked Trojans travel north to beat Washington. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines at 8 Eastern on ABC. And Washington's certainly looking better, but I don't know if they'll have enough for John David Booty. And wonder where John David Booty is in Andre Ware's high five this week.
He's playing some excellent football, I'll tell you that. You go on the road to Nebraska, play the way he played, got his football team in a position to win the game. That's a tough chore.
Second down and 6. Sheets again. And this time wrapped up in the backfield at the 19-yard line by Joe Brockington and company. All right, your high five for this week. I imagine that Andre Woodson is still #1. You had him #1 from the beginning.
Yeah, he hadn't moved. I've liked the kid for a long time, and he's playing some tremendous football. I think they're ahead in their ball game today. But John David Booty moved into second place. Falling out was Brian Brom and Tim Tebow making an appearance in the top 5.
Well, there's a certain Florida alum on our broadcast crew that I know was really pushing hard
lobbying
for Tim Tebow, and I think she won you over there.
It wasn't her.
Okay.
Wasn't he it was his play.
Not even
that
a
did
little
it.
bit? Not if you knew I'd buy you dinner or something?
Just a little bit. when you put dinner in there, you get a vote. That gets you a vote for sure.
All I got to say is 27 carries, Andre. What do you need? What do you need?
He's going to be a good player, that's for sure.
Horton with a catch, and it's a Purdue first down. Well, Tebow is off to a great start, and you have to wonder, is Tebow's going to be on national TV tonight with a chance to shine? Does he jump into the Heisman race if he plays well tonight?
I think he's got 2 weeks in which he's got to play and perform well. This week against Auburn, and then next week against LSU on the road. That's going to be a tough game. It'll tell you a lot about Tim Tebow.
Sheets up to the 34-yard line. And let's go back to the studio and check in with Scott.
Thanks again. The trend continues. First half all offense, second half all defense in Champaign. Anthony Morelli trying to get a first down, get the touchdown that can help tie it for the Nittany Lions. He gets blasted by Justin Harrison. Ball pops out. Possession changes hands. We're under a minute. Illinois looking for another win, which would be certainly the best start in the Zook era there. Most of you will see Wisconsin. How good is the 9th-ranked Badger team? Many think they will get their toughest test thus far for Michigan State. Many of you see that next.
And then Illinois will host Wisconsin next week. We'll be there as Sheets is down at the 37-yard line. It's going to be a wild. I mean, it already has been in the Big Ten. But who knows how things are going to play out. And here's Purdue's remaining schedule. We'll know in the next 3 weeks what Purdue is made of. Huh?
Yeah, we will absolutely know. The 8th-ranked team in the country, Ohio State. They get them here next week, and then Michigan on the road. But it's going to be tough. Michigan, Iowa, Northwestern, Penn State's waiting on them. Michigan State's off to a heck of a start this year. They had to have this one, though. They wanted to learn a lot about themselves against a hard-nosed football team, though they're 0-4. They did not underestimate the play of Notre Dame and knew they had to take care of business. Let the guards down a little bit coming out of halftime, but they seem to pick things up.
Well, Purdue started 5-0 in 2004 and finished 7-5. But Joe Tiller telling us the other day that this is the most seniors they've had, tied for the most seniors they've ever had. And so you would think that, given the uncertainty with the rest of the teams of the Big Ten, they're in for a better finish than 7-5. And you look historically, at least the last 5 years, once they got into Big Ten play, understandably, their record has fallen off.
It's been some tough football played in the Big Ten, but a lot of experience on this team. 9 starters on both sides of the ball, and you throw in both the punter and the kicker were coming back.
Painter looking deep, flag down, pass incomplete. Lyman got tangled up with Darren Walls. How about Illinois? Only loss, last-minute loss to Missouri, and if they beat Penn State.
Holding for 2 on the defense. A 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's going to be a hot team taking on the Badgers next week at noon Eastern in Champaign.
Well, they had a chance against Missouri late in that ball game. A late interception in that game kind of sealed the deal for Missouri, but we could be watching an undefeated Illinois team had that not happened. But I'm looking forward to seeing them play. Juice Williams back healthy. Remember, he went out in that ball game with a concussion. So Illinois hitting on all cylinders right now.
Meanwhile, 6th first down via penalty for Notre Dame. And you could live, certainly if you're Charlie Weiss, with a young football team maybe struggling in offense and defense. But when you start having penalties and special team snafus, as Purdue is going to take a knee here, that obviously will make Charlie Weiss very upset that the special teams was horrible today and just way too many penalties.
A couple of interceptions as well won't make the head coach happy either. He's still giving it to the officials. Still coaching to the bitter end of this one, but he's got to be, a little happier with the performance of his football team. Found out that maybe he's got a quarterback in Evan Sharpley waiting to do some things for him.
And Clausen certainly showed signs, made some mistakes, but Clausen also banged up, may not be able to play next week. As Notre Dame next up is at UCLA. Painter takes a knee. We'll have to do it probably one more time.
You kind of look at this Notre Dame situation. They played a little bit better in each ball game. They're going to start this season 0-5, but they're a better football team now than they were just a couple of weeks ago, and really took a step forward in this ball game today. So look for them to make a little more noise. They're going to be a competitive team when it comes down the stretch, but I still like UCLA over them. I still like USC over them, and it's going to take probably about till Navy before they get their first win.
Still shocking, though, and embarrassing if you're a Notre Dame football fan and an alum to watch your school being beaten 5 straight weeks. And again, giving up 33 points today to Purdue. Could have been a lot worse. Purdue 5 of 5 in the red zone in the first half. 3 times settled for field goals. And it was 23-0 at halftime. Credit Charlie Weiss's group for hanging in there and making a comeback and getting within a score with 7 minutes left. But if you're a Notre Dame fan, certainly Charlie Weiss won't accept it, and I'm sure the Irish fans aren't accepting it either.
Now, close is good, but they're used to a lot of winning, and winning in big ways at Notre Dame. So they're going to have to turn some of those close ones and good performances into wins before they start to kind of get that feeling back at Notre Dame.
Penalty flag down as Purdue takes a 5-yard penalty. We'll have to run one more play
here. 12 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
This will be the first 0-5 start for Notre Dame. Obviously their first 0-4 start as well, and this will be 7 straight losses. Their longest in history was 8 back in 1960.
Well, that's tough. Tough pill to swallow right there.
No push-ups today, or at least if he did, they were short-lived. Told us during the lineups he was going to be doing a lot of push-ups for Notre Dame touchdowns. He didn't get his workout going until the second half, and it was short-lived.
He did a few, but not enough to stretch that old shirt out.
Painter takes a knee. Purdue 5-0. Notre Dame 0-5. Final score in West Lafayette, 33-19, as Purdue ends Charlie Weiss and the Irish their 5th loss in 5 games in 2007. For more on this game, tune into ESPN News for a post-game extra. For Andre Ware and Aaron Andrews and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dave Pasch. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long from West Lafayette. Congratulations, Joe Tiller and the Boilermakers. Now let's send you back to the studio and Scott Van Pelt.